Lai Huang Tower, this is your turf, don't tell me you don't know. Kunzu's gaze was sharp, coldly staring at everything before him, his tone calm but probing. Lai Huang Tower's lips curled slightly in mockery as he replied, how much clearer are you about this place than I am? Otherwise, you wouldn't have come all the way from the Kuan family to stir up trouble. He knew in his heart that he did not have the specific details of the inheritance. He only knew of its existence here, even the exact location, because he and Lai Hao had tracked it. Strictly speaking, this was a Lai family secret, and even with good relations, he wouldn't reveal it lightly in front of others. You bastard, then just wait. A few hours, I can wait that long. Kunzu sneered a few times, then turned aside to begin carefully studying the Luohun Valley. This forbidden wasteland, the Luohun Valley on Lai family territory, holds mysterious power capable of burying immortal realm cultivators, making it famous far and wide. Kunzu and Lai Huang Tower both nearly broke through to the immortal realm, but that chasm blocked countless heroic prodigies. If not for that, the two wouldn't dare to risk going deeper. Even if they obtained the inheritance, it might not help them break through. But at least, it was a glimmer of hope. Only by entering the immortal realm could one have a voice in the family, becoming the minimum threshold to be a family saint's son. Kunzu fell silent, and the others stopped speaking, sitting quietly to adjust their states. No one dared to take the dangers in Luohun Valley lightly. Tell me all the intelligence you know. This inheritance is too wasteful for your current cultivation. I can give you treasures to help you break through and ascend to the next level of heaven. Lai Huang Tower's gaze was sharp as he transmitted his voice mentally to Lai Hao. Brother Huang Lu, Lai Hao hesitated, his face full of conflict. Seeing these two, he knew in his heart that the inheritance was hopeless. Even if there was some inside information, in the face of strength, everything was an illusion. What's the matter? Can't bear to let go? If it weren't for me, you wouldn't get a single hair. Lai Huang Lu sneered, his mockery laced with dominance. I understand, Brother Huang Lu, this is all the information I have. Lai Hao finally let go of his worries. Breaking through the realm was a more realistic choice for him. Even if the inheritance was obtained by chance, it couldn't escape the pressure of the two. Instead of wasting effort, it was better to show some favor to Lai Huang Lu. Not far away in the sky, Ling Xiao watched coldly, locking onto his targets, Lai Huang Lu and Kuan Zhou. According to the information, only disciples of the four great families who break through the immortal realm can be valued by their families and enter the core circle. The two before him were just one step away. If he could help them break through, then control them with spiritual threads, he could grasp the movements of the two families and hold all the power in his hands. The sun set in the west, the afterglow fading. As the last ray of sunlight disappeared, a faint tremor suddenly came from Luohun Valley. If one wasn't fully focused, it would be completely unnoticed. Now's the time. Lai Huang Lu and Kuan Zhou's faces turned stern, and they instantly flew toward the source of the tremor. Though the people behind moved slower, they followed closely, their momentum firmly suppressing. There is something wrong with this inheritance. Ling Xiao frowned deeply. He had no news from the Lai family or the Kuan family, but just by the location of the tremor, he immediately recognized, deep within the dense forest at the edge of Soulfall Valley, 5 wooden houses were scattered, hidden, and eerie. In the clearing at their center, a strange altar stood towering. The tremor originated from the altar, about the height of a person. It should be so this place of inheritance could at most see life forms like puppets, whose existence was only to filter out the true successors. However, beside the altar in the void, a figure was hidden. His cultivation was only at the peak of the Divine King realm, but his concealment technique far surpassed that of an Immortal Realm expert. This was clearly an Immortal Realm successor who had arrived early but chose to remain hidden, his aura extremely strange. Ling Xiao teleported above the altar, concealing his body in the void, his eyes burning with intense curiosity. What exactly was this guy plotting? Really unlucky, being with you never brings good things. The voice of Lai Huang Lu carried a hint of anger, reaching Ling Xiao's ears. Don't blame me, encountering a troublesome guy like a marching ant, we're lucky just to be alive. Kunzu replied helplessly. The few of them appeared awkwardly outside the altar. This really isn't a place for people to stay. Lai Huang Lu shook his head, suddenly alert. 5 rooms, how to divide? Rush together, or split up? Kunzu asked. Together. Lai Huang Lu said cautiously, this place is strange, I have a bad feeling. Since stepping into Luohun Valley, his spine had been cold as if being watched by an evil spirit. Even after using the tracking treasure mirror, there was no result, and the sense of crisis grew stronger. But Lai Huang Lu was determined, seeking victory in danger, never retreating. Along the way, only he and Kunzu discussed actions, deliberately ignoring the others. Now, the time had come. You three go first, you get first pick of the treasures. Lai Huanlu turned, staring coldly at the three with Divine King Realm Ninefold Heaven's cultivation, issuing the order. Do we have a choice? The three asked angrily. What do you think? Lai Huanlu's words were laced with hidden threats, his mind still on alert. They brought them here only to prevent the Lai family from appearing arrogant outside, but Lai Huanlu had other plans. Their own two and the Kuan family members wouldn't be easily harmed, and on dangerous paths, they would never let them go first. But these three were different, they could scout ahead for themselves. What did it matter if they sacrificed themselves? Let us go. The three shook their heads helplessly, but their cultivation levels were no match for Lai Huanlu, let alone the predatory Kunzu. They could only pray that there was no danger inside the wooden huts. Sure enough, the 5 wooden huts were quiet, seemingly already discovered by someone, showing no signs of danger. Lai Huanlu's unease only deepened. When will the news arrive? Could someone have gone ahead? He whispered to Kunzu. 3 days ago. If someone had truly obtained the inheritance, the altar would have already opened. Maybe someone came here but left mysteriously, Kunzu said with suspicion. No signs of the altar opening were visible outside, adding to the mystery. Be extra careful, don't slip up in the shadows. As the two exchanged whispers, the group had already reached the altar's edge, less than a few meters from the platform. Click, click. The altar's mechanical activation sounded abruptly, the noise aimed directly at the 3 unlucky fellows. Retreat! Lai Huanlu shouted sharply, his figure flashing instantly, ready to face the sudden crisis. Kunzu and Lai Huanlu exchanged a glance and quickly withdrew from the altar's oppressive aura. Just as the 3 tried to retreat together, 2 fierce attacks forced them back. Are you trying to kill us? The 3 roared, having lost their best chance to escape. Traps and mechanisms activated all around, and they frantically shouted for Lai Huanlu's help. But Lai Huanlu and Kunzu remained cold as ice, their gazes sharp as knives, utterly unmoved. Suddenly, powerful forces surged from beneath the altar. After several fierce impacts, the 3 people fell to the ground with a crash, their lives instantly extinguished. A terrifying phenomenon suddenly appeared, the 3 corpses and blood were swallowed by the altar in the blink of an eye, leaving no trace. The altar abruptly expanded as it absorbed the power of flesh and blood, its momentum sharply increasing. A sharp light flickered in Ling Xiao's eyes, his gaze like a torch, instantly perceiving the altar's truth. It was not just a weapon, but a rare spiritual artifact. The altar resembled a curved flying disc, with its spirit hidden within the platform. An unusual aura quietly rippled. Ling Xiao felt a faint tremor of hidden power, imperceptible to outsiders. Didn't he expect this place to devour flesh and blood? Koan Zhou stared at the altar that had stopped expanding, a chill rising in his heart. Lai Huanlu analyzed in a deep voice, this inheritance seems like an opportunity to reach the immortal realm, but the risks are enormous and may not be worth the gamble. Breaking through to the immortal realm is tempting, but what is the point if you don't have the life to enjoy the peak? If we're going to leave, then let us go. You know my situation. If I fail this time, there is no hope of turning things around in the future. Koan Zhou's eyes flashed with fanaticism, vowing never to give up lightly. The internal strife among the 4 great families was fierce. Although Koan Zhou held a high position, enemies surrounded him. Rumor had it that a mortal enemy was about to ascend to the immortal realm. If true, Koan Zhou's clan would face a perilous situation upon his return. The Holy Sun had absolute control over disciples below the core level, those spared lived, those killed died. Koan Zhou yearned to seize this opportunity to soar. In that case, I'll fight alongside you. Lai Huanlu hesitated for a long time before finally making up his mind. He could not leave easily if not for the 2 of them working together against the marching ants' assault just now. The 3 from the Lai family would have surely died. Rather than surrender, it was better to join forces with Koan Zhou to fight for the inheritance. Moreover, no immortal realm experts had appeared here yet, and Lai Huanlu possessed treasured artifacts, giving him a chance to survive. Ah, you rascal! Koan Zhou laughed heartily, his eyes bright, secretly admiring Lai Huanlu. Suddenly, he pulled several rat-shaped demon beasts from his bosom and hurled them toward the altar. Squeak squeak! Under Koan Zhou's control, the demon beasts ran swiftly, triggering countless mechanisms and traps. The mechanisms activated one after another, traps exploded in succession, the demon beasts screamed miserably, and in the end, all perished, their bodies and blood instantly disappearing. This time, the altar did not expand again. The beast in Kunzu's hand was a variant of the breath-seeking rat, specialized in tracking, but extremely weak in strength. Even if swallowed by the altar, it was worthless. Li Wanglo watched in astonishment, they really went all out. These little things must be quite valuable, right? Kunzu smiled proudly and said, "We each have to bear half of this loss, or I won't agree. I can't handle it myself, it hurts so much my heart is breaking." Kunzu looked full of regret and sneered at Li Wanglu. "Who told you to use such precious things? Play with them yourself." Seeing that all the mechanisms had been cracked, Li Huanglu's gloom dissipated, and he could finally joke with Kunzu. 033, these are the only treasures I have on me, sigh, heavy losses. Kunzu sighed helplessly since it couldn't be undone. He didn't dwell on it, and after a few teasing words, he strode toward the altar. This time, the altar was silent. Kunzu walked straight to the center, gazed at the altar within reach, and stopped. Buzz! A heavy earth-yellow light surged from Kunzu's body, activating his protective treasure. He carefully reached out, lightly touching the altar. Whoosh! Kunzu's figure vanished in an instant. Seeing this, Li Huanglu guessed that he had been transported inside the altar, which should be the place of inheritance. Unwilling to fall behind, a fiery red glow ignited on his body as he followed, disappearing without a trace after touching the altar. "Shall we go in too?" After the two disappeared, Li Gang whispered to Li Hao. "Why go in? Are we going to die? Let's just stay here, the inheritance has nothing to do with us." Li Hao said helplessly, though unwilling in his heart, he could only swallow this bitter pill. The group began searching around after all. Since they were here, it wouldn't do to leave empty-handed. "What are you looking for?" Suddenly, a pitch-black figure appeared in the center of the altar, its aura fierce, asking coldly. "Someone's appeared. Be careful." Li Hao was alert. The mysterious person's aura was arrogant, clearly with ill intent. "Ha, careful? I've been waiting for you all a long time." A pitch-black blade suddenly appeared in the mysterious person's hand, accompanied by a sound of breaking air, and the figure vanished instantly. Slash! The blade fell, and a human head rolled onto the ground. "Listen to me, this guy is off. Don't scatter, be careful not to be picked off one by one. Those who can enter the altar, hurry inside and inform them of the situation." Li Hao shouted orders loudly. "What good is gathering together? You will all eventually become sacrifices to the altar's energy." The mysterious person sneered coldly, countless blades appearing behind him, slicing through the air as they launched a frenzied attack. "Life hanging by a thread, don't be stingy with your treasures. If you die, even your treasures will belong to others." Li Hao erupted with light from within, unleashing all his reserved techniques. Everyone understood the danger. Watching the blood and flesh of the recently deceased being devoured by the altar, they all released the radiance of their treasures. Bang! The altar exploded with a deafening roar. Even Li Hao and others at the Divine King Realm's fourth or fifth heaven, despite having protective treasures from their clans, could not withstand the mysterious assailant's assault. With one strike, countless treasures shattered except for Li Hao, all others perished. Li Hao burned his life force, desperately charging toward the altar, hoping to pass on information about the mysterious person to Li Huang Tower before dying. Though he had seized the opportunity, the lives of fellow clan disciples were precious. As long as Li Huang Tower knew, they could prepare in advance. Even if they couldn't defeat the enemy, they could escape. "If I die, he will avenge me. A trapped beast struggling, what a joke." Ling Xiao coldly looked at Li Hao, his figure flashing as he blocked in front of him. A sharp blade slashed through, and Li Hao's head fell to the ground with a thud, dead on the spot. "Next, we'll just wait for the prey." The mysterious person stared at the altar, devouring blood and flesh, muttering to himself, then struck again. Hidden deep within the void. After absorbing the power of blood and flesh, the altar rapidly expanded. Just 2 meters short, its edge could reach the range of those 5 wooden houses. Such ruthless methods, daring to slaughter the clansmen of the Lion Kuan families without hesitation. The forces behind this guy are definitely extraordinary. Ling Xiao witnessed everything, but he was cold and merciless, never intervening for those unrelated to him. Yet he understood the mysterious person's actions were far from over. Li Huang Tower and Kunzu were his next targets. These two still have a use. They absolutely cannot die at this person's hands. Ling Xiao concealed his cultivation to the peak of the Divine King realm, deliberately emitting an aura, and steadily landed a few meters away from the altar. "Someone actually dares to come, peak of the Divine King realm? Not bad, I like it." The mysterious man sneered coldly. Ling Xiao pretended to reach out and touch the altar, when suddenly, a sharp blade sliced through the air, aiming straight at his head. Buzz! The blade approached but was firmly grasped by Ling Xiao's right hand. "You actually discovered my presence?" The mysterious figure appeared from the void, but the voice came from behind Ling Xiao. "A clone?" Ling Xiao silently praised himself. If he hadn't been constantly vigilant, this clone could really have confused his senses. Bang! Ling Xiao threw a punch, and the mysterious man fell heavily to the ground, his face utterly destroyed, blood spurting wildly. Strangely, his blood was not absorbed by the altar, making it stand out unusually. The altar recognizes you as its master? No, if that were the case, those two guys wouldn't have been able to enter. Have you reached an agreement with the spirit within the altar? Ling Xiao stared at the flowing blood, suspicion growing in his heart. You've been lurking here all along? Who are you? Why have I never seen you before? The mysterious man lay on the ground, his face covered with Ling Xiao's fist marks, yet he still breathed stubbornly. Ling Xiao did not kill him, leaving him alive. This man boasted of excellent concealment skills, having been guided by a secret expert, hiding here for a long time, yet he had not noticed anyone approaching, which shocked him. Never seen me? Are you from one of the four great families? No, your aura is different. Could you be from the Dark Knight? Ling Xiao caught key information from his inadvertent words. This guy's intelligence network was vast, able to track the movements of immortal realm cultivators within the Forbidden Wasteland. Such a powerful intelligence network was possessed by only a few forces in the Forbidden Wasteland. Coupled with his ruthless methods, only the Dark Knight organization matched. The green mountains remain, the clear waters flow forever. Today's humiliation must be paid back in blood. The mysterious man was horrified by Ling Xiao's precise deduction. If they continued talking, more secrets might be revealed. Moreover, Ling Xiao's strength was far beyond the surface Divine King realm. He was no match at all. He decisively unleashed a secret technique, his body instantly vanishing into the void as he desperately fled for his life. What's the rush? It's not your turn to leave yet. Ling Xiao sneered coldly. With a flicker of spatial elemental fluctuations, the mysterious figure reappeared beneath his feet. Impossible. The mysterious man was shocked, unable to believe he had been captured. The people of the Dark Knight are somewhat useful after all, saving me the trouble of cleaning up personally. Ling Xiao nodded with satisfaction, spiritual power surging. Threads of mental energy extended rapidly from his body, quickly entangling the mysterious man and firmly restraining him. The secret man's consciousness overflowed his mind like a tide. Don't think you can control me. I am Yi Wuxin, grandson of the Dark Knight Grand Elder. This move of yours will become your nightmare. The mysterious man's eyes flashed with vigilance as he shouted angrily, trying to resist. But forget his threats, even if the Nightshade Grand Elder himself appeared, he would have to bow before Ling Xiao. Who dares harm my grandson? Suddenly, a massive spiritual power exploded from Yi Wuxin's mind, surging rapidly toward Ling Xiao. The aura contained in this spiritual power reached the eighth heaven of the immortal realm, its might overwhelming. In the blink of an eye, before Ling Xiao, a barrier condensed from time and space elements suddenly rose, firmly blocking that spiritual power. The spiritual power slowly dissipated into the void under Yi Wuxin's shocked gaze. That was his last straw for survival, and with its destruction, his only hope was gone. Watching his trump card easily shattered, Yi Wuxin's mind was instantly swallowed by endless despair. That was the life-protecting secret technique passed down by his grandfather, capable of causing even a seventh heaven immortal realm expert to fall. But this guy in front of him easily neutralized it with just a barrier. Such strength, how could Yi Wuxin, a peak divine king, possibly contend? At this moment, Yi Wuxin completely gave up resisting, allowing Ling Xiao to manipulate him. After a few breaths, a trace of struggle flashed across his face, then numbness replaced everything. First time using this method, it really feels a bit unfamiliar. If only Yun Ting were here. Ling Xiao sighed inwardly. Controlling the mind of a divine king realm was quite taxing. Yun Ting's methods were far more skillful. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. I still need to slowly hone myself. Greetings, master. Yi Wuxin's lips twitched. Though somewhat awkward, he finally burst out a loud respectful address, a flicker of respect shining in his eyes. How do you feel? Ling Xiao looked at him coldly, his expressionless, poker face probably a lingering effect from the punch just now. Very well, my cultivation could break through at any moment. Yi Wuxin answered briefly. With Ling Xiao's spiritual power supporting him, along with several streams of spiritual energy source being delivered, his injuries quickly healed, unexpectedly shattering the barrier of the Divine King realm. Ascending to immortality is, after all, a tremendous leap in the level of life. Even though the desire to break through is strong, Yi Wuxin's instincts are fiercely suppressing it. A pleasant surprise? Ling Xiao couldn't help but laugh out loud, never expecting that the spiritual threads could also aid in cultivation. Your mission is to infiltrate the Dark Knight, become the leader, and regularly report intelligence on the 5 great families and the temple back to me. Ling Xiao gave a concise order without elaboration. Once a proud scion of the Dark Knight, now a puppet in his hands. This is the cruel world. Choosing this path means bearing all the consequences. The spiritual threads probed deep into memories, and Ling Xiao obtained a wealth of unexpected information. In Yi Wuxin's memories, there was a clear description of the altar beneath Ling Xiao's feet. The gluttonous demon magic plate. This circular altar's name is said to be a divine weapon created by slaying a juvenile gluttonous demon and sealing its soul within. After that powerful figure's death, the magic plate vanished without a trace, only to mysteriously reappear here later. Coincidentally, that powerful figure was once a member of the Dark Knight, and Yi Wuxin's leftover notes also recorded this. Because the previous master passed away, the gluttonous demon magic plate fell dormant. To awaken it requires a powerful cultivator's fresh blood and flesh as nourishment. According to the records, as long as a few God King level strong cultivators die here, the gluttonous demon magic plate can awaken, easily falling into Yi Wuxin's hands. As for that so-called immortal realm inheritance, it was just a worthless legacy Yi Wuxin casually picked up in the Dark Knight. A fake inheritance forcibly squeezing potential through pills to ascend to the immortal realm. After all, the enemies he can handle at most are God King level cultivators. If the inheritance were too strong, it would attract true immortal realm experts, and the situation would become uncontrollable. You go communicate with the artifact spirit and have it release the two inside. I can make it awaken early. Ling Xiao coldly ordered Yi Wuxin. Yes, master. Yi Wuxin mechanically walked toward the altar, forming a complex magic seal with his hands. The consciousness inside the altar immediately appeared and began communicating with him. Master, it agreed, but there's a condition. After awakening, it wants to follow me. Yi Wuxin's tone was slow. The aftereffects of the spiritual threads made his reactions a bit sluggish, but recovery was only a matter of time. Follow you? Afraid I'll casually crush it, huh? Fine, deal. Ling Xiao smiled. This artifact spirit was quite cunning. Just as he wished, with it guarding Yi Wuxin, control over the Dark Knight organization would be even more secure. In an instant, two huge bubbles drifted down from the altar, inside which were the struggling Lai Huanglu and Kuan Zhou. The spirit could only control them through illusions. This was exactly its plan with Yi Wuxin. First exhaust the two of them, then Yi Wuxin would deliver the fatal blow. Who are you? Where are the Lai family members? Lai Huanglu roared. The bubbles had weak defenses, and the two quickly broke free, entering the altar's interior. What they saw of the inheritance was utterly trash, completely useless. Relying on pills to forcibly raise cultivation unless one is an extreme individual who would want to dig their own grave. With their intelligence, they immediately saw through this trap. The mastermind daring to set a trap for the Lai and Kuan families was also obvious. They're all dead, but you two are lucky you're useful to me now. Ling Xiao said coldly. Are you from the temple? Or the Knight faction? Kuan Zhou asked anxiously. No, my people include you too. Ling Xiao shook his head, his words laced with venom. What do you mean? Lai Huanglu's heart sank, several magical treasures appearing in his hands, ready to flee at any moment. Nothing, just wait and see. Ling Xiao's spiritual power wrapped around them, instantly sealing the spiritual power within their bodies, rendering their treasures powerless. The two immediately struggled in panic but had no strength to resist. Spiritual thread shot up precisely, quickly controlling Lai Huanglu and Kuan Zhou. Though core disciples of the four great families, their status was inferior to Yi Wuxin. Ling Xiao had even prepared a hidden hand but never used it. Master! Master! The two's voices were mechanical, their spiritual aftereffects hard to dispel, only able to recover slowly. These are two sources of spiritual power. Return to your families to refine them. Combined with my spiritual threads, they will help you break through the immortal realm smoothly. Ling Xiao said, transforming the spiritual power sources into two jade pendants and handing them over. If the three broke through simultaneously, suspicion would inevitably arise. Ling Xiao could only have them return to their families and break through conventionally, without any abnormalities. The cloud of suspicion had not yet dissipated. Thank you, Master. The two responded mechanically, but their eyes flickered with undeniable joy. After you return, fight with all your might for the family inheritance. The three of you must support each other. If you encounter problems you can't solve, come directly to me, Ling Xiao ordered coldly. With these three nails, tracking the temple's whereabouts becomes much easier. In their memories, the exact location of the temple remains vague. After all, their status within the family is not high. If they were the Holy Son, perhaps they could access that layer of secrecy. Yes, Master, the three responded in unison. Act separately, and do not arouse suspicion. After sending them off, Ling Xiao immediately began sorting through the three's memories. The temple last appeared publicly only recently. At that time, he was in the 4.9 jungle, helping Lin Qingtian enter the cave. Obviously, the temple sensed the arrival of the Destined One and took action. The temple appeared in the eastern part of the Forbidden Wasteland, formerly Qingmu City, under the Lin family's jurisdiction. Coincidentally, Qingmu City was once part of Ling Zhao's exploration plan, but he ultimately chose Nuanyang City. The reason was simple: Qingmu City no longer had top-tier forces guarding it, the situation was chaotic, and information was cut off. Unexpectedly, the temple's people were hiding there. Judging by the timeline, by the time he arrived, the temple's people had probably long since left. With this in mind, Ling Xiao soared into the sky, heading straight for Qingmu City. At the same time, he was calculating the arrangements for Yi Wuxin and the other two. The mental thread control technique essentially forcibly invades another's soul using one's own mental power to achieve control. Although Ling Zhao's mental power is astonishing and won't affect the three in the short term, once they break through to the seventh heaven of the immortal realm, this control may become a prison for their cultivation, impossible to break for life. Except for Yi Wuxin, Lai Huanglu and Koan Zhou had no conflicts with Ling Xiao, but their origins in the four great families are their original sin. The information they obtained within their families is undoubtedly a treasure for Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao even secretly considered whether to control people from the other two families to pave the way for himself. However, Chen Boer from the Qian family once gifted him a Forbidden Wasteland token, and this favor made Ling Xiao temporarily spare the Qian family. Of course, if the Qian family actively causes trouble, Ling Xiao will show no mercy. The Yun family is another mystery. Ling Xiao suspects that his friend Yun Ting has intricate ties with the Yun family. Unless necessary, he does not want to involve the Yun family. Moreover, the mental thread control technique was inspired by Yun Ting's method. If Yun Ting truly belongs to the Yun family, controlling Yun family members may be ineffective. Ling Xiao's purpose for coming to the Forbidden Wasteland was clear: first, to find a powerful enemy to break through his cultivation; second, to pave the way for Lin Qingtian. Both goals pointed to the mysterious temple deep within the Forbidden Wasteland. Without news from the four great families, it was like searching for a needle in a haystack. If there was blame, it could only be on their identity and luck. If they didn't meet the criteria, how could Ling Xiao have targeted them? Under his control, they would break through the immortal realm and become the sacred sons of their clan. If this news spread, it would surely trigger a mad scramble among countless people. With Ling Xiao's cultivation, he would not stay long in this universe. If the peak here could not match him, he would step into another universe to seek a higher realm. By then, if he remembers this matter, he might even show great mercy and lift the control. After all, not everyone is qualified to be controlled by Ling Xiao. Qingmu City. A city that once dominated the Forbidden Wasteland. Rumor has it. At its peak, Qingmu City was shrouded by a spirit-gathering formation, with a spiritual energy density 50% higher than the cities of the other four great families. The abundant spiritual energy surged like a tide, making the people of the Forbidden Wasteland yearn for it deeply. Becoming a permanent resident of Qingmu City was an honor countless people dreamed of. However, after the Lin family was destroyed, Qingmu City declined as well. The former glory faded, replaced by a chaotic mix of all sorts of people. The city gates were noisy and bustling, with an entry fee as high as 2 pieces of wild stone. The gatekeepers were all shrewd and adept at reading people, rarely turning anyone away. Ling Xiao, dressed in a blue robe and surrounded by a mysterious aura, stepped through the city gate without anyone daring to stop him. His presence was like a sharp blade in the night, sharp and inviolable. Inside Qingmu City, although the four great families did not openly establish bases, they secretly supported their own factions. In the city center, the foundation of the former Lin family lord's mansion had been leveled, replaced by a strangely shaped tall tower. The tower was covered with formations, making it impregnable. It was said to be a remnant of a shrine. Construction halted halfway for unknown reasons, its form bizarre, yet no one dared to dismantle it, and the protective formations were unbreakable. Using the clues in Yi Wuxin's memory, Ling Xiao quickly pinpointed the Dark Knight organization's base here. Unlike in Nuanyang City where the Dark Knight hid in taverns, here the organization openly stood on the main street, occupying a prominent storefront. Crowds surged in and out continuously, the bustling scene revealing the city's chaos and disorder. "Hello, are you here to accept a mission or to issue one?" At the entrance, a smiling beauty greeted him, her voice sweet and her attitude as friendly as a hostess at a leisure venue. Ling Xiao responded coldly, "Take me to your leader." He took out an identity token from his chest and showed it to her. Seeing the token, the beauteous expression changed immediately, and she quickly led him inside to a private room. A distinguished guest, please forgive any shortcomings. A hearty laugh sounded as a portly man pushed open the door, his belly round and his smile strange. My name is Enmu, head of the Dark Knight Qingmu branch. You have a token? May I see it? He smiled, his eyes carrying a hint of probing and authority. Ling Xiao casually tossed the token to him, his gaze sharp as he scrutinized the man who called himself Enmu. The Dark Knight organization was vast. Besides assassins and ordinary members, real power was held by the Yi family. Due to their large influence and recruitment of talents, they had a strict management system. Those who made outstanding contributions could be granted the surname, qualifying them to join the Yi family and become one of them. So far, only 5 people had earned this honor for their exceptional contributions. And Mu was clearly a person of considerable power among them. Yi Wuxin's memory only knew the location of this base, not the detailed personnel structure. After all, he was still a genius not fully matured, and family affairs had not yet come under his control. This is the young master's token, but you look unfamiliar. You must be the young master's friend, right? After examining the token and confirming its authenticity, and Mu's attitude turned respectful. This token represents the highest authority's recognition in the Yi family. The family's prodigy, those who hold this token are few in number. It doesn't matter who holds the token, no one dares to provoke this dark shepherd. That's right, this token was given to me by Yi Wuxin. Does it not work here? Ling Xiao's lips curled into a cold smile, with a hint of gloom hidden within. No, of course it works. I was just momentarily dull and didn't react. May I have your honorable name, sir? The dark shepherd quickly forced a smile. If the Yi family knew he was so disrespectful to the token holder, his life would probably end here. The Forbidden Wasteland is unusual without the backing of a powerful force, the path of cultivation is cut off, opportunities are seized, and misery is inevitable. Ling Xiao, take me somewhere quiet, I have something to ask you. Ling Xiao calmly gave his name, no one recognized it, so hiding it was pointless. Yes, Lord Ling Xiao, please. There are several quiet courtyards in this inner courtyard, currently vacant. Please choose as you wish. The dark shepherd stood and led the way, beginning to calculate in his mind. Although the token is held by several young masters, it is not without theft records. It is time to verify the authenticity of the token. This place will do. Ling Xiao casually chose the spot with the strongest spiritual energy and sat down. If you have any questions, I know a little about the happenings in Qingmu City. I am not clear about matters outside the city, the dark shepherd said respectfully, speaking cautiously. Tell me about the current situation in Qingmu City, especially the temple that appeared recently. Temple? Alright, I will fetch the city records from the past 3 years for you to review. If you have any questions, contact me anytime. The dark shepherd's eyes flickered. Trouble comes from the mouth mentioning the temple is taboo. The temple is in the top circle of the Forbidden Wasteland, and everyone tacitly keeps silent. But this person asks directly, likely holding a grudge against the temple. The dark shepherd dared not act rashly and had to find the records. With the token's authority, reviewing them was perfectly normal. After a cup of tea, the information was delivered. Ling Xiao spent half a day reading carefully, and the entire context of Qingmu City became clear. Unintentionally, he discovered a strange record in the texts. The temple's appearance in Qingmu City has always been within 100 meters of the tall tower. No one knows when it entered the city. It is suspected that a teleportation array is hidden inside the tower, directly connected to the temple headquarters. All are speculations without evidence. Take a trip. If you can dig up some information, great, if not, that is fine too. Just create some noise to attract their attention. Ling Xiao glanced at the tall tower, his figure flickered, and he vanished. Below the tower was a plaza paved with white jade, covered by an array formation, with spiritual energy occasionally leaking out. The plaza was rich in spiritual energy, making it a contested ground among the various small factions in Qingmu City. After years of fighting, the plaza had never belonged to anyone, and daily skirmishes were the fiercest there. Ling Xiao approached the plaza and had just taken a step when a sharp voice stopped him. Stop! Who are you? He looked over and saw an old man in hemp clothes at the edge, pointing at Ling Xiao and cursing as he advanced. Trying to cultivate here? Have you paid the toll? Nowadays, anyone dares to come here. The old man gave Ling Xiao a cold glance, and after confirming he was alone, his tone grew even more rude. For the big powers, the plaza in Qingmu City was insignificant, but for those small factions whose cultivation barely reached the Divine King level, it was a rare spiritual energy treasure ground. People from the city's few major powers usually looked down on coming here to snatch spiritual energy. Even if they did, they came with a squad of guards. Therefore, the old man was certain that this Ling Xiao before him had no background at all and was just a lone outsider. Toll? Since when do you have to pay a toll here? Did you build this tower or something? Ling Xiao looked coldly at the old man, his tone full of disdain. There were already a few people in the plaza when he stepped in, but the old man ignored them all and focused solely on Ling Xiao. You've got a sharp tongue, but no matter how sharp, I won't let you pass for free. 10 pieces of barren stone pay up, or don't blame me for calling people to kick you out of Qingmu City. Anger flashed across the old man's face as he puffed out his chest. The words Huzong were sharply embroidered on his hemp clothes. Big talk. I want to see how you're going to kick me out. Ling Xiao originally wanted to ignore him. After all, this old man was just bullying others by relying on his power. But his repeated provocations stirred Ling Xiao's anger. Brothers of the Huzong Hall, someone's causing trouble. The old man roared angrily, and more than 10 people quickly gathered around, encircling Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had once investigated the Huzong Hall in the dark night. It was a second-rate force, and the hall master's cultivation level was no higher than the 9th heaven of the Divine King. There was very little description of Huzong Hall in the dark night, barely worth noticing. I'm giving you face. Flames ignited in Ling Xiao's eyes. He usually acted low-key, but after coming to the Forbidden Wasteland, he was frequently treated like a soft target. It seemed that being low-key here would only bring more trouble. The immortal realm aura within him suddenly erupted, a powerful pressure crashing down like a mountain, enveloping everyone. Thud. The Huzong Hall disciples at the Boundary Master and Domain Master levels immediately collapsed weakly, looking utterly miserable. Spare me, senior. I didn't recognize your greatness, it was a misunderstanding. The previously arrogant old man now wore a mournful expression, his face streaked with tears. Spare me? Huzong Hall is so powerful? Come on, give me a chance, call someone over. I want to see what guts you have. Ling Xiao spat coldly, his pressure undiminished in the slightest. A 4.9 level domain lord disciple of Huzong Hall had already fainted under the pressure, barely clinging to life. It's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. The old man knew he had provoked a great enemy, whose strength probably far exceeded that of the Hallmaster, and he was terrified. If he returned alive, he would surely be skinned and have his tendons pulled out by the Hallmaster. A misunderstanding? Then is my killing also a misunderstanding? Ling Xiao clenched his hands fiercely, and except for the old man, all the Huzong Hall members instantly turned into blood mist, perishing by his hand. How dare you kill a disciple of Huzong Hall? The old man was horrified, shouting with his mouth but secretly rejoicing in his heart. The powerful enemy he had provoked for no reason had killed someone. The Hall Master would definitely not spare him, but now he finally had an excuse to make the Hall Master come out personally to save him. Hall Master, someone is slaughtering our disciples in the square. The opponent is extremely powerful, suspected to be a Divine King level expert. The old man suddenly pulled out a talisman, his brush moving swiftly, the characters flashing across the paper like lightning. As the talisman burned, the flames instantly engulfed it. I'm right here waiting. Ling Xiao stood still, his gaze cold and sharp as a knife, staring at the old man whose bones were cracking, feeling not a shred of pity in his heart. The commotion had already drawn the attention of those around, but when they saw the old man, not a single person spoke up to defend him. The people here had long heard of his notorious reputation, and because he was backed by a powerful force, no one dared to act rashly. Sun Jian, the head of the Huzong Hall, a powerful figure at the 9th level of the Divine King realm, was the overlord of Qingmu City. The old man's public slaughter of Huzong Hall disciples was bound to ignite a bloody storm. All eyes in the square converged. You're really bold. How dare you slaughter my Hall's men, as if you don't fear Sun Jian. A furious roar suddenly exploded, and a figure swiftly flew over, landing beside the old man. Ling Xiao withdrew his pressure. If he continued to exert it, the old man wouldn't even live long enough to become the Hall Master. Hall Master, this bastard killed our brothers for no reason. You must avenge us. The old man wept profusely, crying like a child. Get lost. I'll deal with you later. Sun Jian kicked the old man away with disgust, knowing that most of this trouble was probably caused by the old man himself. But now that the matter involved Huzong Hall, he had to first resolve the current situation, or else anyone could attack Huzong Hall at will. You're no match for me. How many people do you have backing you? Stop hiding and call them all out at once. Ling Xiao sneered, his gaze disdainfully sweeping over Sun Jian, the Divine King realm expert. To stand firm in the complex power struggles of Qingmu City, Sun Jian's foundation was far from ordinary. Big talk. Let us see if you have the strength to back it up. Sun Jian laughed bitterly in anger, his long blade flashing cold light as he swung it down fiercely. I already said, you're no match for me. Since you want to die, I'll grant your wish. A cold gleam flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as his spiritual power condensed into a sharp sword, stabbing straight at Sun Jian's forehead. Immortal realm? You're actually an immortal realm expert. Sun Jian's pupils shrank sharply, panic-stricken. Ling Xiao's assault came like a hurricane. Knowing he couldn't withstand it on his own, Sun Jian hastily activated his protective treasure. Boom! The treasure burst forth with scorching light but shattered weakly under Ling Xiao's sword. Sun Jian's forehead was pierced through, blood spraying out. Didn't he expect you to hide such a treasure? It blocked one strike, but what about the next? Ling Xiao raised an eyebrow, interest flickering in his eyes. At that moment, a lotus root-like clone beside Sun Jian fell apart, shattered beyond repair. Ling Xiao recognized it as a type of externalized avatar, extremely difficult to create and rarely obtained. Moreover, this technique only worked below the Divine King realm. Immortal realm cultivators could not use it. This is the fault of Huzong Hall. As long as you can show mercy, any price is negotiable. Sun Jian had long sensed Ling Xiao's murderous intent. If not for timely self-defense, he would have been dead already. He threw down his long knife and with one slash killed the old man beside him, who was crying and stunned. Price? What do I care about? Show me, maybe I'll really let you go. Ling Xiao said coldly. Back then, the Lin family's treasury in Qingmu City held countless treasures. Although the shrine plundered everything, these people had occupied the place for years and still hid secret treasures. Although Ling Xiao had already obtained some treasures, he was still interested in what the Lin family had left behind. Is this enough? Sun Jian stared at Ling Xiao, knowing today's matter wouldn't end easily, so he decided to hand over all the treasures he had accumulated at once. Reluctant? He laughed. Treasures can be robbed again if lost, but if life is gone, everything is meaningless. Ling Xiao coldly scanned the valuables inside the storage ring. These were a fortune for ordinary immortal realm cultivators, but they failed to stir even a flicker of emotion in him. This is all I have here, but I have some treasures at my residence. Are you willing to come with me to get them? Sun Jian had already made up his mind to exchange wealth for his life. Ling Xiao nodded. Fine, but if you're not satisfied, your life will no longer belong to you. The two quickly arrived at the underground treasury. Inside, dazzling brilliance shone, treasure aura was overwhelming, displaying extraordinary splendor. Ling Xiao swept his spiritual power and suddenly his eyes lit up a broken piece of wood. The aura from the broken wood was exactly the same as the withered wood he had once obtained. This was an unexpected surprise. With a thought, the broken wood flew to his hand. Where did this broken wood come from? Ling Xiao touched the wood, feeling its strong vitality, and asked Sun Jian. Bought it from a black-hearted merchant north of the city. He didn't say the exact origin. He never sells without owing favors, so it must be a treasure. Sun Jian said. If you like it, pick whatever treasures you want here. Consider it my gift to you. Seeing Ling Xiao's interest in the treasure, Sun Jian was secretly pleased. He feared Ling Xiao would remain unmoved, which would be troublesome. As long as the other accepted the treasures, his life would be saved. Black-hearted merchant? The guy north of the city? Ling Xiao recalled seeing this name in records. It was said he could find any treasure with money, but his prices were extremely high. That's right. I have some acquaintance with him. If you need, I can introduce you, but he has a strange temper. Sun Jian hurriedly said. Strange temper? Interesting. I'd been wanting to see for myself. Ling Xiao smiled. Information about the withered wood was rare. If he could get more clues from the black-hearted merchant, it would be excellent. Your Excellency, can the misunderstanding be resolved? Sun Jian asked in a low voice. Ling Xiao said coldly, take all the treasures, your life is spared. But if you provoke me again, I won't hesitate to come for your life. Having obtained the wood search clues, Ling Xiao's anger greatly subsided, and he spoke generously. Thank you for sparing my life. Feel free to take anything you want. Sun Jian felt a weight lift from his heart. His life was spared, and all his efforts were not in vain. In fact, the treasure vault was protected by a powerful formation, capable of trapping immortal realm cultivators at the first level. Sun Jian had once tried to trap him but knew the other's extraordinary strength and dared not act rashly. It was precisely because of this that he had survived by a stroke of luck. Ling Xiao instantly gathered the treasures into his small world and handed them to the little spirit to organize, paying little attention otherwise. Sun Jian watched nervously as Ling Xiao vanished in an instant, leaving him with a bitter smile. In the square beneath the tall tower, everyone stepped aside upon seeing Ling Xiao's return. Immortal realm cultivators inspired fear wherever they went. The strong were revered by all, their reputations widespread. As everyone sighed, Ling Xiao's gaze sharpened as he carefully scanned the tall tower. On the tower, the formation S arrays intertwined, layer upon layer, like a giant net wrapping around it, boosting its power several times over. However, the source of the formation S energy was only one place: the huge barren stone on the first floor inside the tower. The barren stone endlessly devoured the surrounding spiritual energy, injecting infinite power into the formation. Ling Xiao understood in his heart that as long as the barren stone was shattered, the formation would cease due to the loss of its energy source. He stepped lightly, entering the edge of the formation. A flash of spiritual light passed by, and the great formation that had blocked countless strong cultivators rippled like a water curtain. Ling Xiao stepped in without hindrance, his figure instantly disappearing from the square, causing an uproar. The formation has failed? If that is true, we can all go in. The spiritual energy outside is strong, but it's even stronger inside. Don't hesitate, charge. The crowd rushed wildly toward the formation but was forcefully repelled, falling one after another, their screams shaking the sky. Unaware of this scene, Ling Xiao remained inside the tower. At this moment, he stood before the barren stone. The barren stone had stood for ages, time devouring its spirit, its mass having reached the utmost. Even Ling Xiao developed a strong interest in this barren stone. Destruction was easy, but to seize it without damaging its form was no small challenge. The Black Heaven Demon Spear was suddenly unleashed, its tip sharply tapping the array's nodes. The array trembled instantly, then paused momentarily. Ling Xiao seized the opportunity, grabbing the barren stone fiercely with his right hand. Spiritual power quickly replaced the stone's position to prevent backlash from the array. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao completed the retrieval. With no time to spare, he stored the barren stone in his small world, preparing to teleport away. However, the surrounding space fluctuated violently, blocking the teleportation. Young man, you're too greedy. An energy form condensed from spiritual power suddenly appeared. It glared angrily at the array's core that had lost the barren stone, its tone cold and severe. People of the shrine? Ling Xiao sensed the ancient aura radiating from this energy form, as if it had endured thousands of years. In this forbidden wasteland, only those of the shrine could control spatial fluctuations with spiritual power. Knowing full well this is sacred ground of the shrine, yet you dare steal treasures, truly you hold no respect for the shrine. The energy form's fury blazed, its aura surging like waves, displaying the formidable cultivation of the immortal realm's third tier. Formed solely from spiritual power, its strength was already comparable to an immortal of the third tier. Ling Xiao knew that the other party's true strength was not to be underestimated, and their cultivation level was probably on par with his own. If you don't take me seriously, so what? Come and try. Ling Xiao sneered coldly, his gaze sharp as a knife, the Black Heaven Demon Spear ready to strike. Kid, you're very arrogant. Although the immortal realm cultivation is strong, in the eyes of the temple, it's nothing but a speck of dust. The energy being was uncontrollably furious, but knowing that a direct fight would be hard to win, it instead spat out wild words, threatening Ling Xiao to leave the barren stone. Is that so? I'm right here. If you want to make a move, go ahead. If you don't dare, then get lost. Ling Xiao aimed the spear tip at the energy body, the spear light flickering, battle intent surging. Kid, leave your name. My temple will personally come to settle the score someday. The energy body vanished in anger, the prelude to battle already unfolding. A sufficient threat, Ling Xiao sneered coldly. You're not even worthy to know my name. Want to find me? Come to Qingmu City, I'll be waiting. The spear light suddenly surged, Ling Xiao fiercely thrusting toward the energy body. Bastard, how dare you humiliate me repeatedly? You think my energy clone can't handle you? The energy body burned with rage. Seeing Ling Xiao take the initiative to attack, it immediately unleashed a violent spiritual force, like a storm raging against the spearlight. However, Ling Xiao's attack was incredibly sharp, empowered by the Black Heaven Demon Spear, his strength soaring. If he hadn't wanted to avoid destroying this place, the power would have been even greater. Even so, this strike was enough to instantly kill all cultivators below the fifth heaven of the immortal realm. Secret technique, ignite. Though the energy body was furious, a trace of calm remained deep inside. If the energy clone died, the original body would inevitably be harmed. The attack struck the energy body, the spear light piercing directly through its form. The secret technique took effect. The energy body did not immediately perish, only a feint will remain to sustain it. Good trick, worthy of provoking the temple. But your end has come. Within a month, I will crush you to dust and avenge today's humiliation. The voice was weak but still full of menace. In an instant, the energy body dissipated into thin air. Then, a crimson golden light condensed in the air, shooting straight at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao instinctively summoned a spiritual shield, but the golden light ignored it and branded his arm directly. He wanted to dispel it but changed his mind and gave up. This brand posed no threat, it was merely a tracking spell. The opponent feared his escape and deliberately left it behind. And the other party, fully aware that he could be easily eliminated, still placed this bet. Ling Xiao knew it well and decisively kept the mark. He came here to find the temple. The other party's deliberate trace was exactly what he wanted. Don't disappoint me. His cultivation had reached a bottleneck, halfway stepping into the threshold of the 8th heaven gate. He only awaited a thrilling battle to break through smoothly. But the opponent's cultivation must surpass the 8th heaven, or he would be defeated before making a move. In this universe, only the temple could send out such a powerful figure. After Ling Xiao left with the wild stone, the cultivators in the square sensed something unusual. Although the tower was protected by a formation, strong cultivators knew the temple existed. While they could break in, no one dared to take the risk. The weak tried to enter the forbidden gate but were blocked by the formation. As time passed, the wild stone ceased functioning, and the residual energy inside the tower gradually dissipated, eventually exposing it. With the wild stone taken, the spiritual energy leakage in the square abruptly stopped, causing panic among everyone. This territory was won through great wars at a huge cost. Now, with no spiritual energy flowing, how could they feel at ease? Many forces began investigations, but the results were known only to themselves. As for the instigator Ling Xiao, he had already returned to his Dark Knight residence, preparing to study the newly acquired wild stone. Your Excellencies, how did this kind of stuff get on me? The Dark Priest, the man who controlled everything here, had long noticed Ling Xiao's return and immediately went to meet him. But upon seeing him, his brows instantly furrowed. Are you talking about this mark? Ling Xiao asked in return, his fingers lightly brushing over the strange symbol. This mark only exists in that place. Once stained with it, unless you pay a huge price, it's hard to erase. The Dark Priest frowned deeply, his voice tinged with helplessness and anxiety. He knew Ling Xiao had old grudges with the temple, but he hadn't expected the entanglement to be so deep. Erase? No, I deliberately left it. Ling Xiao smiled slightly, his gaze firm. If I remove it, wouldn't all my previous efforts be in vain? The Dark Priest was shocked. Leave it? Lord Ling Xiao, the temple is no ordinary force. If the organization goes against it, it will only get beaten. You should find a way to deal with it quickly. He knew that although the young master's status was high, confronting the temple head-on was no easy matter. This was a serious issue, and he alone could not handle it. Don't worry, this has nothing to do with you. Ling Xiao responded calmly. The temple had stood in the forbidden wasteland for 1,000 years, its authority not to be taken lightly. If you don't remove this brand, I'm afraid I can't guarantee you can continue to stay here. The Dark Priestess' tone was heavy. The temple's wrath is something the organization cannot bear. He was extremely troubled. Offending Ling Xiao was one thing, but that was equivalent to offending Yi Wuxin, the powerful figure who had given Ling Xiao the young master's token. I won't let you be troubled. Ling Xiao shook his head. I'm not familiar with Qingmu City. Help me find a quiet courtyard in the northern part of the city to settle in. I can't just sleep out in the wilderness. The Dark Priest smiled gratefully. Thank you for understanding, Lord. Also, please speak well of me to young Master Yi Wuxin. Although his promotion was not decided by Yi Wuxin, if Yi Wuxin said a word, his future would be cut off. I will tell him. With me backing you, he won't trouble you. Ling Xiao nodded, making the promise. To outsiders, the Dark Priest seemed infinitely glorious, but only they knew the desolation and helplessness in his heart. Perhaps out of guilt, the Dark Priest soon found a courtyard for Ling Xiao in the northern part of the city, bought it, and handed it over to him. Coincidentally, that courtyard was only 2 streets away from the Blackheart Merchant's south shop, so close it was startling. Taking the key, Ling Xiao stepped out of the darkness. The Dark Priest watched him go, his feelings complicated. I hope this is the right choice. The temple is not something to offend lightly. He muttered softly, watching Ling Xiao's departing figure, feeling a vague loss as if he had lost some important opportunity. If he had continued to deepen his relationship with Ling Xiao, perhaps the chance should have belonged to him. Life's choices can always overturn fate. North of the city. This courtyard has been abandoned for a long time, the spirit-gathering formation has failed, and the mottled walls tell the cruelty of time. But precisely because of this, the plants in the courtyard grew wildly, full of vitality. Yes, right here. Ling Xiao said with satisfaction, a determined light flashing in his eyes. In this quiet and dark courtyard, finding a hidden place suitable for a shadow priest was by no means easy. Suddenly, the rough stone in Ling Zhao's hand silently fell, landing steadily in the center of the courtyard. In an instant, a formation condensing spiritual energy quickly spread out with the rough stone as its core. Spiritual power surged like a tide, and the visible intensity rapidly increased at a shocking speed. In just a few breaths, the concentration of spiritual power surprisingly exceeded the level within the Dark Knight organization, and it was far from reaching the limit of the formation. With this piece of barren stone guarding it, the richness of the spiritual power was close to the grand scene inside the tower back then. Watching the spiritual energy continuously gather, Ling Xiao did not stay. He quickly set up several protective formations around the courtyard to prevent outsiders from noticing. Then, he left the courtyard and walked toward a nearby place. Ahead, a slightly dilapidated shop came into view, which was his target on this trip, the den of that black-hearted merchant. Got money? Bring it. No money? Get lost. The shop had no signboard, and 2 lines of gold-embossed large characters were carved on the door pillars, like glaring couplets, looking completely out of place. This rude greeting might be the reason why the shop was deserted. Inside the shop was quiet. The only customer was a greasy-faced fat man, lazily lying on a rocking chair behind the counter, occasionally snoring. Ling Xiao's footsteps were not concealed. As soon as he entered, the fat man opened his eyes and glanced at him. If you want to buy, look yourself. Don't bother me with nonsense and disturb my sleep. The fat man's eyelids were half closed. He glanced at Ling Xiao, saw an unfamiliar face, then closed his eyes again and spoke carelessly. Ling Xiao was not angry. His gaze shifted to the so-called treasures on the counter. This shop was really strange, filled with fakes, half of which were roughly disguised, and even a dagger had obvious break marks. You actually dare to show off this junk? Aren't you afraid of losing face? Ling Xiao sneered, sensing a faint dangerous aura from the fat man, and a bold idea rose in his heart as he mocked. Buy it or not, get lost. Spouting nonsense here to seek attention? The fat man was too lazy to open his eyes, his tone impatient. Although he sold fakes, he had limits and didn't want to bother with people who had no money. Are all of you Qian family people so temperamental? Ling Xiao straightforwardly revealed the other party's identity. What Qian family? Who are you? The fat man slowly stood up, squinting as he stared, a dangerous gleam flashing in his eyes. Not the Qian family? Maybe I was mistaken. I'm just here to buy something. Ling Xiao's gaze was sharp, fatally discerning that the other's aura was very similar to Qian Buer's. Although the other party hid it very well, to Ling Xiao's eyes, the faint aura was as clear as a bright lamp. Buying something? Fine, tell me what you want and I'll help you find it. The fat man cautiously sized up Ling Xiao and took the initiative to ask. Xuanmu, piece by piece, Xuanmu. Ling Xiao was direct. You came from Sunjian? So you're the one who broke into the temple tower, no wonder. The fat man was well informed, learning about the tower's affairs within half a day. Name your price. Ling Xiao ignored the small talk and went straight to the point. Name my price? If you got out of the tower, you must have seen that giant wilderness stone. Give me a fingernail-sized fragment, and I'll tell you where to find Xuanmu. The fat man asked for an exorbitant price. Information exchanged for treasure fragments, the deal was very precise. I'd be willing to consider giving you Xuanmu, but just information? Don't joke. Ling Xiao flatly refused. Although he valued Xuanmu, he would never hand it over lightly. The value of Xuanmu is no less than the wilderness stone. Ling Xiao would never make a losing deal. In that case, there is nothing to talk about. Go back where you came from. The fat man coldly threw out a sentence without opening his eyes, leaning back in his rocking chair to pretend to nap. Ling Xiao stared at the fat man, his voice icy. A 14th rank treasure, that's the highest price I can offer. 14th rank? Xuanmu is a 16th rank treasure, do you take me for a fool? The fat man refused without hesitation. Ling Xiao shook his head helplessly, his spiritual power transforming into a steel-like resilient thread, quickly wrapping around the fat man. Dare to make a move? Don't think I run this shop for nothing. The fat man's body shimmered with treasure light, like armor, firmly protecting him. The formation inside the shop suddenly activated, a powerful attack array gathering behind the fat man. The spiritual power thread ignored the treasure light protection, weaving through it and striking directly at the fat man. Formation, activate. Fear flashed in the fat man's eyes as the formation's attacks behind him wildly shot toward Ling Xiao. But all attacks were precisely nullified by the spiritual power thread before they were even launched. The thread, like invisible shackles, wrapped around the fat man, its strong binding power rendering him immobile, his body twisting in a pitiful struggle. Tell me, where is Xuanmu? Ling Xiao continuously tightened the silk thread. The The fat man was breathing heavily, his spiritual power completely sealed off, unable to exert even the power of the immortal realm at the first level. The formation inside the shop lost its core and gradually stalled. I've been in Qingmu City for many years. You are the most troublesome I've ever encountered, but what if you kill me? Only I know the information about Xuanmu. Killing me won't help you find it. The fat man sneered, firmly believing that Ling Xiao wouldn't dare to kill him. The Qian family is giving you face. I'll ask you one last time, will you hand over the information about Xuanmu or not? Ling Xiao's tone grew colder as he mentioned the Qian family. The Qian family? Don't mention that place. The fat man suddenly became agitated, twisting his body wildly, struggling against the restraints. My patience is limited. Don't worry, I'll let you end quickly, without pain. Ling Xiao's spiritual power surged, and the spiritual silk thread enveloped the fat man. You want to control me? The fat man roared in terror. Control? You're not part of the Qian family, so I'm not interested. I just want to extract what I need to know from your memories. Ling Xiao shook his head. The fat man seemed like a discarded pawn of the Qian family, so controlling him was useless. Xuanmu is deep in the Wuyan Mountains north of Qingmu City. The fat man finally gave in. I don't believe you. No matter how much you say, it won't help. Ling Xiao did not relax. The silk thread tightened, preparing to personally verify the truth. No! The fat man screamed miserably, his voice full of resentment and helplessness. Fortunately, the shop's formation had already been activated, or this howl might have alarmed half of Qingmu City. Ling Xiao had already captured key information from the fat man's memories, and the next move was about to begin. As the fat man said, the news was true. Xuanmu was hiding deep in the silent mountains north of Qingmu City. That mountain range was tightly guarded by a 7th-level immortal realm beast, and any reckless move would mean certain death. The fat man's name was Chen Dian, once a genius of the Qian family, but expelled due to internal family strife. He went into hiding and fell into obscurity in Qingmu City. Although he and Qian Bu'er were distant relatives, they had no blood ties or close relationship. After learning all this, Ling Xiao's spiritual thread quickly entwined Chen Dian's mind and began to ravage it. He originally intended to seal his memory of coming here, but fearing it might be cracked later, he ultimately chose to sever part of Chen Dian's memory. The process was painful, but it was the price Chen Dian paid for offending Ling Xiao. Half an incense stick later, Chen Dian's expression was dazed and his consciousness blurred. Ling Xiao left the shop and returned to the courtyard. Qingmu City was a chaotic mix of people and creatures, perfect for him to use the disorder as cover. Ling Xiao knew the temple forces would come knocking in person in a month. With the mark on him, he had nowhere to hide and no need to waste effort tracking their movements. Although a month was long, he did not want to waste it and planned to use this opportunity to head to the Silent Mountains to search for Xuanmu's trail. At the same time, he ordered Yi Wuxin and the other two through spiritual power to search for news of treasures above the 17th rank. Ling Xiao understood that to transcend, besides breaking through to the immortal realm, possessing treasures of this level was also key. However, to this day, even with system assistance, he had not obtained such treasures, and being unfamiliar with this universe, the search plan was temporarily shelved. Upon arriving at the Forbidden Wasteland, Ling Xiao found the cultivators there were formidable and perhaps truly capable of finding high-level treasures. Considering the journey would take nearly a month, he transplanted the Xuanmu seedling into the courtyard. Although the seedling thrived in the small world, the external environment was more suitable. He arranged for the glow god insect to guard it closely, preventing anyone from breaking through the formation to intrude. If he could not return in time, the glow god insect could also resist stubbornly. With everything prepared, Ling Xiao spread his wings and flew straight out of the city. The Silent Mountains, a mysterious barrier north of Qingmu City. Dense vines covered half the mountain, swallowing all sound, making the range oppressively silent. Rarely visited by people, it nurtured abundant spiritual herbs hidden deep within, difficult to trace. The rich resources attracted countless adventurers swarming in to compete for treasures. Ling Xiao arrived at the mountain entrance and encountered a group of 3 preparing to enter. Friend, you can't fly straight through here, the target is too obvious and will alert the flying beasts. The leader warned. Ling Xiao smiled at the reminder, slowly descending with a calm gaze. Thanks for the warning. His aura only showed the peak of the Divine King realm, moderate strength, neither drawing attention nor causing trouble. Is it really that dangerous here? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Ling Xiao had already grasped most of the mountainous situation. Only a few peak Divine King realm beasts guarded the outskirts. Deeper inside, a few immortal realm beasts could be seen. But to Ling Xiao, these were insignificant and he did not take them seriously. Looks like it's your first time here too. Why not come with us? Your strength won't hold us back. Wang Guangbua, the leader, looked Ling Xiao in the eye with some sincerity. Okay, but what is your goal? If it's different, that could be troublesome, Ling Xiao asked. We're looking for a peak Divine King Realm Ling Tian tiger to take its essence blood. What about you? I'm looking for a type of wood, only knowing it's somewhere in this mountain range. The exact location depends on luck. As they chatted, Ling Xiao gained a preliminary understanding of them. Wang Guangbo was at the peak of the Divine King realm, while behind him, Yao Cheng and Wang Wei were both at the 8th heaven of the Divine King realm. To have such cultivation levels, they must be backed by powerful forces. In comparison, the Lai family, where Lai Hao belonged, was no match for them. The four met for the first time. Wang Guangbo did not reveal his background, and Ling Xiao did not ask deeply. After reaching an agreement to cooperate, Ling Xiao joined the trio's team. In the vast mountain range, the four of them were like ants, their voices gradually fading into the air. Are you talking about the Ling Tianhu, the one with wings on its back, entirely black with white spots on its limbs? Ling Xiao asked. That's right, it was told to us by our family elders. But that guy is extremely strong and very troublesome. A trace of seriousness flashed across Wang Guang's face. The beast's physical bodies far surpassed humans, having an overwhelming advantage at the same realm. Human cultivators made up the difference with treasures. Wang Guangboi's cultivation was comparable to the Ling Tian tigress, and with two assistants and treasures supporting him, he was confident that even if he lost, he could retreat safely. Otherwise, he wouldn't take the risk. This was also why he warmly invited Ling Xiao, who had reached the peak of the Divine King realm. Having one more strong person increased their chances of success. It's just a beast, no big deal. Ling Xiao laughed. In perception, Ling Tianhu's aura was strange. He had broken through to the first level of the immortal realm. His aura was chaotic, clearly having just broken through not long ago, about a month ago. If it weren't for Ling Xiao being present, the three before him would be no match and would have difficulty even escaping with their lives. This is the way of heaven. Kindness must be repaid. If the other party hadn't reminded him, he wouldn't have stopped to cooperate. Brother Ling, what does that piece of wood you mentioned look like? With such a huge mountain range, searching without a target is like looking for a needle in a haystack, Wang Guangbo asked with a smile. I have a piece of dead wood. As long as there are trees of that kind nearby, the dead wood can sense them. Although its range is small, it can help. Ling Xiao took out the wood-seeking tool to explain. The wood seeker can indeed sense, but its range is limited. Relying on it to find something across the entire mountain range is useless. One must depend on spiritual perception. This wood seeker was found by the Lin family many years ago, but no one has truly obtained it. It obviously has its own intelligence and actively hides itself. Finding it requires some effort. That's good. Wang Guangbo breathed a sigh of relief, feeling much more at ease. If he could gain something, Ling Xiao wouldn't return empty-handed, and their cooperation would go more smoothly. He couldn't help but feel a bit guilty in his heart. Suddenly, a thunderous roar echoed through the mountain range. A giant bear, golden all over and at the 5th level of the Divine King realm, suddenly charged out from the shadows, blocking the group's path. Sister, this time it's up to you. Wang Guangbo's gaze locked onto the giant bear as he turned to quietly instruct the woman behind him. Wang Wei nodded calmly and silently, then took a steady step forward toward the giant bear. A green light burst forth from her body, mysterious fluctuations rapidly gathering in the air. Is this a divine ability? Ling Xiao was astonished. Since entering this realm, he had never seen anyone wield this innate power so closely connected to their bloodline. The stronger the bloodline, the more formidable the divine ability. In an instant, the green light spread out like a giant net, enveloping the giant bear. Roar! The giant bear's senses heightened, a golden light flashing as it charged fiercely toward Wang Wei. Freeze! The green light, like iron chains, forcibly froze the giant bear's high-speed charge. The giant bear's eyes were filled with terror, completely baffled as to why its body was out of control. A trace of ease appeared at the corner of Wang Wei's mouth. She wiped the cold sweat from her forehead and drew a short dagger from her bosom. Whoosh! Agile as the wind, she instantly leapt in front of the giant bear. Sizzle! The dagger sliced through the air, sharply cutting toward the giant bear's throat. Yellow light shattered, and blood gushed out. Roar! The giant bear struggled in pain, trying to tear apart the green light covering its body, opening its mouth to lunge at Wang Wei's arm. Sharp fangs glinted coldly. If it bit down, the arm would surely break. Wang Wei's expression remained calm as his left hand quickly formed a seal. The green light suddenly tightened, firmly binding the giant bear. The giant bear opened its mouth to bite but couldn't close it, terror reaching its eyes. Seizing the opportunity, the light on Wang Wei's dagger flickered as he stabbed toward the throat wound. Thud! The giant bear's head fell to the ground with a sound. Wang Wei turned around indifferently and rejoined the team, as if what just happened was nothing. Brother Ling Xiao, look at my sister's skills, pretty ruthless, right? Wang Guangbo said proudly, looking at Ling Xiao with a boastful smile. Is that a gifted divine ability? Ling Xiao's gaze sharpened as he stared at the lingering aura inside Wang Wei, then asked Wang Guangbo. Wang Wei and Yao Chang both widened their eyes, instantly locking their gaze on Ling Xiao. Yao Chang even quietly reached for the large blade on his back. Didn't he expect you to have such broad knowledge, actually knowing about gifted divine abilities? That's impressive. Wang Guangbo's eyes grew more cautious. He had thought Ling Xiao was just an ordinary person, lacking the arrogance of the four great families, which was why he invited him alone. But someone who could easily see through gifted divine abilities could not be simple. Doubt suddenly arose in Wang Guangbo's heart. That green light has great limitations. It can only bind beings whose cultivation is lower than the caster's. If used against someone equal or stronger, the backlash is fierce and unbearable. Ling Xiao noticed the other's unease and calmly shifted the topic. Didn't he expect you to know so much about our Wang family? If I hadn't invited you, I would have suspected you were sent to get close to us. Wang Guangbo stared deeply at Ling Xiao, his tone probing. He had wanted to tell Ling Xiao that although these two beside him were weaker in cultivation, their methods were strange and far from weak. However, what he never expected was that Ling Xiao actually exposed Wang Wei's secret outright and was extremely familiar with this divine ability. Is your Wang family very famous? Ling Xiao asked coldly in return. He was not being dismissive. He had just arrived here and only knew about the four great families, the Shrine, and the Nightshade organization, with only superficial knowledge of other forces. Not famous. If we were famous, how would it fall to us juniors to extract the essence and blood? Wang Guangbo smiled awkwardly, trying to ease the atmosphere. Don't worry, I'm just curious about this divine ability, nothing else, Ling Xiao said with a smile, seeing through his wariness. Let's go, no time to lose, we might find that guy on the way. Ling Xiao took the lead. Wang Guangbo felt a relief in his heart but still did not fully trust him. The other three in the team had already developed a subtle distance from Ling Xiao, but on the surface, they pretended nothing was wrong. It didn't matter to Ling Xiao, they had no real connection anyway, and he had no intention of getting close. Since he promised to help deal with the tiger, he naturally would not go back on his word. Solve it and leave immediately. Everyone hurriedly walked, suddenly arriving at the edge of the Ling Tianhu territory. Everyone be careful, this Ling Tianhu is incredibly powerful. Don't be stingy with your protective treasures. If injured, the smell of blood will attract more beasts, causing big trouble. Wang Guangbo warned in a low voice. Although he spoke to the three, Ling Xiao heard it clearly. The three were clearly experienced and perfectly in sync. As an outsider, Ling Xiao naturally had no tacit understanding. He nodded slightly, indicating his understanding. In an instant, several auras of treasures exploded, enveloping everyone in multicolored light. A pure white radiance appeared on Ling Xiao's body, cold and icy. 4.9 How dare you trespass into my territory, prepare to die. The aura fluctuated like thunder as Ling Tianhu roared angrily, charging from afar, his momentum instantly shattering the sky. No, the information was wrong, this isn't the aura of a divine king realm. Wang Guangbo's face changed abruptly. This is the power of the immortal realm. Wang Wei's eyes flashed with panic and bitterness. We're finished. An immortal realm beast, it's almost impossible to escape. Wang Guangbo was shocked, his heart heavy. Fighting beyond 1's level is nearly impossible, especially against a powerful beast. Fight. Only by risking everything can we have a chance to survive. The silent Yao Chang drew his great blade, holding it across his chest, his voice resolute. Brother Ling Xiao, sorry for dragging you into this. I'll do my best to create an opportunity for you to escape. Wang Guangbo looked at the calm-faced Ling Xiao, feeling guilty. It's fine, just a minor figure newly entered into the immortal realm, we might not necessarily lose. Ling Xiao shook his head, his words full of confidence. Let us hope so. Wang Guangbo knew this was Ling Xiao's first time here and that he had limited knowledge of Ling Tianhu, but he had already made up his mind. This matter must not implicate the innocent. In an instant, the enormous Ling Tianhu appeared before them, his pressure like a mountain, his aura overwhelming. We're just passing through, no intention to offend, please show mercy. Wang Guangbo spoke respectfully. But Ling Tianhu was no fool who passes through fully armed and activating treasures? Do you think I believe that? Ling Tianhu's eyes flashed with mockery, cold and sarcastic. We offended you, these treasures are our apology, please spare us. Wang Wangbua took out treasures from his bosom, attempting to bribe. Killing you all, these things will be mine, no need to bother. Ling Tianhu sneered, his sharp claws slashing through the air, producing a piercing wind sound. Ling Tianhu slowly advanced toward the four, with each step, his pressure suddenly rising another level. The lowest level cultivator in Yao City was already out of control, trembling violently all over, sweat soaking through his clothes. Do you really have no mercy at all, sir? Wang Wangbua asked through gritted teeth. Behind him, a hand silently made gestures. Ling Tianhu sneered coldly, face? You ants at the Divine King realm, do you deserve it? His eyes were filled with killing intent, believing all humans deserved to die, they were nothing but prey. At this moment, he had not yet made a move, only enjoying the pleasure of torment. Attack! Seeing Ling Tianhu still silent, Wang Wangbua took the lead in launching an attack. Only by taking the initiative was there a slim chance of survival. A green light suddenly burst from Wang Wei's body, striking directly at Ling Tianhu. Yao Chang's great blade flew out, slashing at him like lightning. Only Ling Xiao remained still, expressionless, as if intimidated by Ling Tianhu's imposing presence, not daring to move an inch. Wang Wangbui's heart tightened. He had thought Ling Xiao would act in coordination, preventing them from falling into an absolute disadvantage. Now, he could only grit his teeth and unleash his spiritual power, fighting desperately to carve a path through. Big brother, my divine power can only last for a breath. You all must seize the opportunity. Wang Wei called out with a bitter smile. A breath is a breath. Yao Chang, go all out. Wang Wangbui ignored Ling Xiao's days and turned to shout at Yao Chang. Yao Chang nodded heavily, bloodlight flickering on his treasured blade, ready to unleash his strongest strike. Just a few insignificant ants, how dare you be so arrogant before me? Ling Tianhu roared, opening his mouth to spit out a ball of spiritual energy. Now! Wang Wei shouted angrily, blood spilling from the corner of his mouth, the green light suddenly transforming into chains that wrapped around Ling Tianhu. What kind of power is this? Ling Tianhu was stunned for the first time. He could not quickly break free from the chains of this minor ant at the Divine King's 8th heaven. Immediately after, the charged attacks of Wang Wangbua and Yao Chang fell like thunder. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out. Several bloodied gashes appeared on Ling Tianhu's body, blood flowing wildly, the scene gruesome. But these wounds were only superficial. Ling Tianhu's tendons and bones were unharmed. Instead, it provoked an even more ferocious savagery in him. Damn ants, how dare you hurt me? I'll tear you to pieces. Ling Tianhu broke free from the chains, flapped his wings, and soared into the air. Countless sharp wind blades gathered beneath his feet in an instant. Whoosh! The wind blades sliced through the air, striking toward the four. Wang Wangbua felt a deadly threat. If he resisted head-on, death was certain. If we had seized the chance earlier, and with Ling Xiao's help, we might still have a way to escape. Now, all that's left is to pray. Wang Wangbua's eyes filled with despair as he looked at Ling Tianhu. Speak, you quadruped, are you never going to stop? Suddenly, Ling Xiao's cold voice broke the silence. Ling Xiao, if only you had woken up earlier. Wang Wangbua looked at the unconscious Wang Wei, feeling deeply frustrated. Quadruped? You call me a quadruped? Ling Tianhu was stunned, and his wind blade attack immediately went off target. Because of this, Wang Wangbua and the other two barely survived this strike, but their vitality was completely depleted, and their combat power utterly vanished. A quadruped with wings, clearly you heard them, were just passing by, yet you dared to recklessly strike? Do you really think your immortal realm strength is unbeatable? Ling Xiao sneered coldly. In fact, Ling Xiao had not acted immediately at first because the four had a clear purpose on this trip to take his essence blood. If he acted easily, this guy's life would be nothing but a handful. Upon learning the others were also immortal realm, Ling Xiao had no intention of a direct confrontation, thinking it would at most be a costly misfortune. However, Ling Tianhu even counted him, who hadn't acted, as a target, which ignited Ling Xiao's fury. I originally didn't want to humiliate you with my strength, but you want to kill me along with them? Don't blame me for not giving you face. Ha ha ha. Humble human, you're quite interesting, I like it. Keep up this arrogance, don't beg for mercy so easily. Ling Tianhu laughed wildly, shook off the three, flapped his giant wings, and lunged at Ling Xiao like a gale. Beg for mercy? Come and try. Ling Xiao watched coldly, condensing spiritual power into a sharp sword in his hand, and casually threw it. This strike stunned Ling Tianhu, and even Wang Wangbua, who was lying on the ground in shame, was shocked. This was an immortal-level demon beast, yet Ling Xiao's casual sword strike pierced through its tough hide without any resistance. The sword entered through the forearm, breaking through the body, blood spurting like a fountain. Roar! Ling Tianhu howled in pain, rolling in the air, struggling to endure the intense pain and steady himself, yet he remained highly alert toward Ling Xiao. You're not a divine king realm, a cunning human hiding strength. You're also immortal realm. Ling Tianhu glared fiercely, his aura exploding, ferocious as a peerless beast descending. Feeling the threat to his life, Ling Tianhu withdrew his mockery, his tone serious. I never said I was at the divine king realm, that was just your wishful thinking. Your so-called assumption is nothing but an illusion. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, allowing Ling Tianhu to gather his momentum, his eyes growing increasingly excited. Seeing Ling Xiao so composed, Ling Tianhu's anger surged, his aura breaking through its peak, even surpassing his own limits. Damn human, how dare you mock me? I will break your bones inch by inch and make you pay for your arrogance just now. Ling Tianhu roared, his aura rising to the edge of the second level of the immortal realm. In an instant, a fierce wind suddenly formed, roaring like a dragon and tiger. The Ling Tianhu clan's innate talent is controlling wind elements, fully displaying their advantage. Amid the raging wind, sharp wind blades shot out like a torrential rain, howling as they swept toward Ling Xiao. Is that all you've got? Not even enough to tickle me. Ling Xiao stood firmly without any defense, letting the wind blades slash at him. Sizzle. Ling Xiao's ordinary clothes were cut with countless tears. Although infused with spiritual energy, they offered no solid protection. After piercing through the clothes, the wind blade's power greatly diminished, leaving not even enough force to break the skin. Dimensional wind blades. Ling Tianhu shouted angrily, convinced that the human before him was far stronger than himself, and without hesitation unleashed his strongest secret technique. This is a secret skill that the Ling Tianhu clan can only release after advancing to the immortal realm, combining wind and spatial elements to tear through reality in an instant. The fusion of fission characteristics makes its power astonishingly overwhelming. But once this move is used, the caster suffers severe injuries. Only when the Ling Tianhu clan fights desperately do they dare to use it. Interesting. Ling Xiao's gaze was sharp, fixed on the space beside him. A powerful force was rapidly gathering, faintly revealing the aura of divine power. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the space was torn apart, and a 3-meter-long wind blade howled out, heading straight for Ling Xiao. At the critical moment, Ling Xiao stretched out his right hand, suddenly pinching his index and middle fingers together, forcibly clamping the wind blade between them. Crack! Ling Tianhu widened his eyes in shock. The wind blade was actually broken by Ling Xiao's fingers. This is impossible. You are not an ordinary human. You must have come from inside. Ling Tianhu panicked, speaking incoherently. Enough nonsense, quadruped, obediently go to your death. Ling Xiao sneered, his gaze sharp as a knife. No. Even if it's the presence inside your body, you cannot kill me. I am from the Ling Tianhu lineage. If you kill me, you will surely face revenge. Fierce light suddenly appeared in Ling Tianhu's eyes, as if recalling some crucial secret. Presence inside the body? Ling Xiao raised an eyebrow. The Wuyan Mountains really have some substance. Before the words fell, a flash of spiritual light passed by. Ling Tianhu's head flew off, blood staining the ground red. How are you so strong? Wang Guangbo was stunned, looking at the fallen Ling Tianhu in disbelief. He is too weak, not worth mentioning. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Compared to that tiger and the 3 others, he was a being of heaven and earth. But he himself had not yet broken through, so he was not a true strongman. Senior Ling Xiao, I want to use the essence blood of this Ling Tianhu. I wonder if you can grant this? You name the price. Wang Guangbo spoke cautiously, his eyes complex. Since Ling Xiao saw through Wang Wei's divine ability, Wang Guangbo had become more wary. The two were strangers who had only cooperated once, and neither dared to act rashly. Since you once warned me to escape, I'll give this thing to you and waive the price. Ling Xiao smiled calmly. Although the Ling Tian tiger was precious, it was useless to him. Killing it was Wang Guangbo's goal. Interfering would be pointless. Thank you. Wang Guangbo was somewhat stunned, his lips moving as if to say something but stopping. Ling Xiao casually set up a ceiling formation, firmly locking down the area. Although sounds in the Wuyan Mountains rarely travel far, the battle aura had spread, likely attracting beasts' attention. The scent of blood especially drew countless greedy eyes. Hurry and rest, don't delay. If it's too late, we'll be surrounded. Ling Xiao reminded in a low voice. Yes. Wang Guangbo responded, feeding pills to Wang Wei. As the medicine took effect, Wang Wei gradually regained consciousness. Big brother, let us go quickly. Wang Wei's memory stopped at the moment Ling Tianhu broke free from the divine ability. Upon waking, he hurriedly shouted. What about that tiger? Looking around, everyone's expressions were strange, but there was no sign of Ling Tianhu, only a pool of glaring blood covering the ground. Sigh, that is how things are. Wang Guangbo briefly explained the situation to Wang Wei. Upon learning that Ling Xiao, who had been following them all along, was actually an immortal-level powerhouse, Wang Wei's face was shocked almost to the point of freezing. Rest enough, then leave immediately. The sooner we go, the safer. Seeing Wang Wei awake, Ling Xiao turned without hesitation and walked deep into the mountains. Big brother, did we make a mistake? Wang Wei stared at Ling Xiao's back and asked Wang Guangbo in a low voice. Maybe. But who would have thought that the person we happened to meet was actually at the immortal stage? Wang Guangbo gave a bitter smile. The peak of the Divine King stage is just one threshold away from the immortal stage, yet it is a chasm that 99% of cultivators cannot cross. The Forbidden Wilderness is filled with powerful figures, but the immortal stage remains the pinnacle of existence. The strongest of the Wang family is only at the 5th level of the immortal realm, coming to obtain the Ling Tian Tiger's essence blood to heal the ancestors' injuries. The 3 war-worried expressions Ling Xiao had already ventured deep into the Silent Mountains. Along the way, rampaging beasts frantically charged toward the Ling Tian Tiger's territory, the air faintly tinged with the scent of blood, their target clear. When confronted with the provoking demon beasts, Ling Xiao waved his hand, instantly slaying the peak Divine King demon beast, and the others dared not continue the fight. After traveling dozens of miles, the forest was dense and so silent that the sound of blood flowing could be heard. Ling Xiao finally sensed Sun Mu and discovered he was surrounded by 5 demon beasts, with formations encircling him. Demon beasts excel in close combat and rarely set up formations. The strength of Sun Mu's formation is such that even Qingmu City finds it hard to match. You all know now, our clansmen were killed by humans on the outskirts. That clan member just ascended to the immortal realm. It seems humans are about to make a move. Under Sun Mu, a 20-meter-long giant Ling Tian tiger roared furiously. They broke the agreement, no need to hold back. Launch the beast tide and let the humans taste our power. A purple-furred giant rat stood on a boulder, passionately proposing. No, once the beast tide starts, the consequences are too great. We haven't yet recovered from the heavy injuries. It's not suitable for a large battle now. A golden eagle showed a trace of worry on its face. This one do, that one do, what do you suggest? Why not ask the boss to come out and make a decision? The Ling Tian tiger roared. The Ling Tian tiger killed by Ling Xiao was its offspring and had great potential. If it hadn't insisted, it wouldn't have appeared on the outskirts at all. I agree. I support that too. The beast tide is the only reliable option. Those damn humans treat this place like a hunting ground and keep causing trouble. Then let us have the boss come out. Seeing the demon beast so agitated and uncontrollable, the golden eagle set the tone with a single call, and the matter was settled. The Silent Mountains, due to their special environment, were rarely visited by humans. The most famous past event was when the Lin family was at its peak and nearly the entire clan went out searching for treasure. In that battle, the demon beasts suffered heavy losses, and the mountains grew full of hatred toward humans. Even so, among the large population, immortal realm demon beasts continued to emerge. To prevent the beasts from retaliating, the Lin family took the lead in establishing a non-aggression pact with the beasts, clearly stipulating that neither party's immortal realm members may enter the other's territory without permission. This was a great insult to the demon beasts. The Lin family had previously come to teach them a lesson. To think they would sign such a blood debt with humans. Under the Lin family's iron-fisted oppression, the beasts of the Silent Mountains had no choice but to grit their teeth and agree. Although the Lin family has since fallen, the beasts regard the promise as sacred and will never go back on it unless something drastic happens. Over the years, humans and beasts have coexisted harmoniously, and old grudges have settled. But Ling Zhao's appearance was like a bomb, instantly tearing apart this fragile balance. Under the Seeking Wood tree, 5 beasts stood. Ling Tianhu, Golden Eagle, Purple Light Rat, Giant Horn Rhino, and Earth-Shaking Ape, the top experts of the Silent Mountains, each having reached the peak of the 6th heaven of the immortal realm. The boss they referred to was the Jiaolong dragon lurking deep in the Thunder Pool. Only when the 5 beasts could not decide would the Jiaolong step in to arbitrate. The 5 beasts each harbored their own schemes, slowly heading deeper into the mountain range. Beneath the Xuanmu tree, the space instantly became empty, the sound of wind and falling leaves, desolate and cold. The real show begins. Ling Xiao sneered, teleporting beside the root of the Xuanmu tree. The aura of this Xuanmu tree was exactly the same as the deadwood in his hand. Obviously, the deadwood had been cut from this tree. System, is this Xuanmu tree a peak level 17? Ling Xiao asked, his eyes flashing with anticipation. The system prompt sounded, ding, host, the origin of this divine Xuanmu tree has been severely damaged. It is currently only a lower level 17 and cannot be repaired. Ling Xiao was stunned, then smiled bitterly, so that's why I could easily take its branch. Losing interest in seizing it, he decided to stay a little longer. Looking up at the roots, the Xuanmu tree soared into the clouds, far beyond the cloud layer, piercing the sky. Ling Xiao extended his spiritual power into the high air, confirming without a doubt. The next moment, earth elements surged, and his figure mysteriously merged into the ground, quietly sneaking toward the tree root. Legend has it, the divine tree with seeking connects the horizon above and reaches the netherworld below. Ling Xiao had already seen its crown piercing the clouds. The netherworld below intrigued him even more. Deep underground, the soil was as hard as iron, with a hardness comparable to weapons above the 10th rank. After sneaking several thousand meters, a pure spiritual energy quietly emerged. This spiritual energy is surprisingly pure. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he instantly moved to the source of the energy. In the darkness, a football-sized energy orb emitted dazzling green light, with vibrant green veins full of life. At the top, a thin tree root connected to it, releasing faint energy along the root. Ha ha ha! This is the treasure I have been desperately searching for. Ling Xiao laughed wildly, feeling the surging energy. As long as he absorbed this energy, he could easily step into the 8th heaven of the immortal realm, achieving a leap in strength. He already understood in his heart, although the origin of the wood was injured, it was not incurable, rather, it had chosen to conceal its strength. At its peak, it attracted human covetousness, but losing its prime made it less of a threat and therefore safer. However, over the years, it accumulated the power to recover and could be reborn at any moment. Unexpectedly, at this moment, it ran into him. Ling Xiao. Smack! Countless tree roots lunged like venomous snakes, incredibly hard and unstoppable. In the soil, the tree roots darted toward Ling Xiao like venomous snakes, the energy orb tightly connected, like a beating heart. Suddenly, the root absorbing energy sharply retracted, trying to pull back the essence accumulated over many years. Ling Xiao's gaze was sharp as lightning. How could he let it succeed so easily? The Black Heaven Demon Spear suddenly unsheathed, its sharpness fully revealed. Accompanied by a surge of domineering aura rapidly spreading, the spear body shot forward like a sharp arrow, directly stabbing at the tree root. Break! The spear tip touched, and the tree root cracked like dry firewood, instantly snapping. The energy orb fell into the underground abyss. Ling Xiao had long been poised to strike. He suddenly launched an attack and grabbed the spiritual energy orb. Sun Mu sensed the energy draining away and erupted wildly. Countless tree roots surged madly, instantly weaving an invisible cage of roots and vines, tightly trapping Ling Xiao. The item belongs to me. I'll give you a spiritual energy orb for free. Deal or not? Ling Xiao said coldly, his eyes firm. Sun Mu hesitated. The tree roots slowly coiled, condensing into a massive wooden giant head, and said in a deep voice, "Return my origin." What kind of power is this? Healing elixir. Although it can't directly restore your origin, after refining for 10 days, it not only heals wounds but also strengthens the foundation, Ling Xiao said with a confident smile. Sun Mu hesitated. Even so, you can't steal my origin. Ling Xiao waved his hand, and several spiritual power orbs formed, circling in front of him, dazzlingly bright. Is this enough? Xuanmu stared coldly. You humans have treasures, so why are you stealing my essence? This exchange is clearly a loss for you. My cultivation has reached a bottleneck. Your power can help me break through, so I won't return it. Though the spiritual power isn't the origin, it's a useful tool for your recovery, Ling Xiao admitted openly, without concealment. Xuanmu pondered for a moment. The divine tree instinctively sensed Ling Xiao's strength and finally nodded. If you help me in the future, I agree to the exchange. One-time help, I promise, Ling Xiao agreed readily. The agreement was reached. Xuanmu cautiously accepted the spiritual power, while Ling Xiao grasped the origin energy and quickly ascended to the surface. Humans have actually broken in. On the ground, the giant horned rhino and the earth-shaking ape appeared with furious roars, staring at Ling Xiao emerging from underground. The 5 beasts originally intended to go straight to the dragon's seclusion place but were disturbed by the trembling of the tree trunks on the surface. The giant horned rhino and earth-shaking ape turned back to investigate, while the remaining 3 beasts continued forward. I'm just passing by, hope all is well. Ling Xiao's expression was calm. With the blessing of the origin, his cultivation was about to break through, and he had no intention of speaking or fighting. Cunning humans, don't think you can leave easily, the giant horned rhino roared, burning with rage. In the silent mountains, the dark currents of human-beast grudges surged, and a storm was about to break. In the hands of the kind, their hatred for humans grew even stronger. The heaven-shaking ape suddenly took a step forward, its fists like 2 heavy hammers, fiercely smashing toward 053 Ling Xiao. Don't force me to act. Ling Xiao frowned, urgently searching for an opportunity to break through his cultivation, paying no attention to the two provoking beasts. As the fist wind rushed closer, his figure flashed, precisely dodging the heavy strike of the heaven-shaking ape. To dodge my attack, you must be the murderer of Ling Tianhu. A fierce light flashed in the heaven-shaking ape's eyes as it whispered to the giant horn rhino. Exactly, not only breaking the agreement and acting on their own, but also daring to trespass into our territory. This guy can't be left alive. The giant horn rhino's massive horns suddenly glowed with a faint blue light, fiercely charging toward Ling Xiao. The blue light was as fast as lightning, seeming to pierce through the barrier of space, striking instantly. Ling Xiao's face darkened, his spiritual power surged, and the blue light was forcibly intercepted mid-air, then exploded. Looking for death? Cold light flickered in his eyes as he shouted harshly. He was too lazy to bother, but the two attacks targeted vital points, their murderous intent obvious. The Black Heaven Demon Spear silently condensed in his hand, its momentum instantly pressing down on the two beasts. Seventh heaven of the immortal realm? No wonder you're so arrogant. A difference of one heaven, you have no right to show off here. The giant horn rhino snarled with contempt and anger as it charged forward. The heaven-shaking ape was unwilling to be outdone, drawing a huge round wooden weapon, roaring as it swung toward Ling Xiao. You really made a fool of yourselves. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, the Black Heaven Demon Spear suddenly blazing with light. A spear beam shot out from the tip, like a sharp blade tearing through the air, striking the two demons directly. Mochizuki! The giant horned rhino roared, the sky darkened suddenly, and a crescent moon appeared in the blue sky. The silver moonlight poured down like a waterfall, flowing into the body of the giant horned rhinoceros. Its size suddenly doubled, surrounded by silver light, its speed sharply increased, charging at Ling Xiao with an unmatched momentum. You've got some skill, but it's still not enough. Ling Xiao coldly watched the giant horned rhino, knowing this attack was enough to defeat an ordinary seventh heaven immortal realm cultivator, but to him, it wouldn't even scratch the surface. Arrogant humans, and now me too. The earth-shaking ape roared, its tail suddenly retracting, each inch pulled back strengthening its aura. As it charged, the tail fully retracted into its body, its aura rising to the limit of the seventh heaven immortal realm. Two of them entering the arena together, this is actually quite a sight. Ling Xiao sighed inwardly. Humans, though the rulers of all creatures and naturally gifted in cultivation, often struggle against beasts of the same realm. Humans take over a decade to break through major stages, while beasts start at 100 years, their foundation far surpassing that of humans. Arrogant! The earth-shaking ape sneered coldly, swinging the log, warping the space, the force astonishing. I hope you show mercy and don't kill them. Just as Ling Xiao was about to finish off the enemy with a single spear, Sun Mu's voice suddenly sounded in his ear. Sun Mu had lived here for many years, witnessing the rise of the silent mountain range's king. Though he spoke little about these two beasts, he knew them thoroughly. Sun Mu deeply understood their temperaments. If he openly said they were no match for the humans before them, no one would believe him. Worse, his words might provoke their resentment. Helpless, he could only turn to Ling Xiao. Haven T really fought in a long time, today I'll play with you. Sun Mu's voice was low, carrying a hint of frenzy. Ling Xiao sheathed the Black Heaven Demon Spear, his hand striking swiftly, his left hand firmly grasping the log, while his right hand tightly gripped the thick horn of the giant horned rhino. Bang! An explosion rang out, shaking the surrounding space. The giant horned rhino felt dizzy, but on the earth-shaking ape's side, the log in his hand suddenly snapped, fragments scattering all over the ground. How can your physical body be this strong? The earth-shaking ape roared in shock. Though the log was not a peerless treasure, it was a rare hard existence in the mountain range. Even breaking it was difficult, let alone shattering it into pieces. Compared to you, of course I'm a bit stronger. Ling Xiao's right hand forcefully lifted. Crack! A faint cracking sound came from the horn, a crack rapidly spreading. Bastard! The giant horned rhino roared like thunder, ears ringing as if exploded, instantly alert. It suddenly gathered strength in all four limbs, retreating its body, violently pulling its horn from Ling Xiao's hand. In just one round, the two beasts were suppressed by Ling Xiao, completely falling into the disadvantage. Their eyes grew serious, filled with caution. The point is sharp, the two of us are no match, we have to call all three of them together. The giant horned rhino stared at the cracked horn with pain, the crack seeming to grow larger and larger in its eyes, unbearable agony. The horn is the hardest part of its body, not even divine weapons could harm it in the slightest. But in this human's hands, it was broken like a bamboo chopstick. Such powerful beings are absolutely beyond their ability to contend with. I've already notified them. Before they arrive, we absolutely cannot let this guy leave. The earth-shaking ape nodded, quietly moving behind Ling Xiao. Waiting for those few? Ling Xiao's gaze sharpened, sensing their conspiracy. With his Immortal Realm's sixth-layer cultivation, he was not afraid even if three came at once. But deep within the mountains, he sensed a powerful aura that was not inferior to his own. The owner of that aura had a cultivation level reaching the Immortal Realm 8th layer. If the other party made a move, it would take some effort for him to leave. If he didn't possess the original source of the wood element, Ling Xiao would have already made a move to test and break through. But having refined the source, he can break through at any time, so such a battle holds no meaning for him. At this moment, he just wanted to find a place where no one would disturb him and quietly break through. Ling Xiao's body soared into the air, his gaze fixed on Qingmu City, ready to leave. Human, don't run. The earth-shaking ape quickly flashed in front, its roar shaking the sky. Stop me? Your bones probably aren't that hard, are they? Ling Xiao smiled and taunted. I know I can't stop you, but this matter will never be let go. The ape god of earthquake said solemnly. The human's appearance here was no small matter. Though it valued its life, it had no choice but to stand up. Alright, since you're so stubborn, I won't leave for now and will wait for those few people to arrive. But hurry up, my time is limited, Ling Xiao replied calmly. This made the earth-shaking ape and the giant horned rhino breathe a sigh of relief and hastily urged the other three beasts to come. Human, what is your purpose on this journey? A furious shout came from afar. The golden eagle soared through the sky, its wings cutting through the vast expanse with a speed unmatched among the demon beasts. It keenly caught the telepathic messages from its companions, learning that the human before them was extraordinarily powerful. Its tone accordingly softened, no longer as aggressive as before. Too much trouble to explain. Wait for those two, they're almost here. Ling Xiao smiled and shook his head, his gaze fixed on the distance as two rapidly approaching figures gradually became clear. Screech! Roar! Suddenly, a sharp whistle and a furious roar echoed through the valley. The purple light rat and the sky-soaring tiger slowly appeared, exuding a fierce aura. Everyone's here, right? Your leader hasn't he come? Ling Xiao's eyes swept over the five beasts, his voice calm. Ling Tian tiger flared its nostrils, its gaze sharp as a blade. Human, I smell the blood of my kind on you. The Ling Tian tiger on the outskirts, you killed it. A murderous gleam suddenly flared up. Ling Xiao frowned, feeling a bit troubled. I didn't expect to stir up new trouble. Exactly, it provoked first. How could I let it go? You want to avenge it? Ling Xiao looked helplessly at Ling Tian tiger. Then let me test your skills. Ling Tian tiger roared, spreading its wings as sharp wind blades howled toward the fire snake. I thought you would directly use the dimensional wind blade, but this level of attack is ineffective against me. Flame suddenly ignited in Ling Xiao's hand, transforming into a blazing fire snake that quickly coiled around Ling Tianhu. Arrogant! Ling Tianhu roared, the wind blade beneath his feet whipping up a fierce gale as he suddenly struck at the fire snake. A thunderous explosion erupted. The fire snake lost some of its power but still clung tightly without letting go. Dimensional wind blade! Ling Tianhu's expression changed swiftly as he rapidly mobilized his energy to unleash his strongest move. His movements were smooth and tireless, clearly showing his mastery over his power. Ling Xiao nodded slightly, responding calmly, not bad, somewhat interesting, but easily countered. Amid the fluctuations of spatial elements, Ling Xiao waved his hand, and a powerful force instantly dispersed the massive wind blade. Roar! Ling Tianhu was shocked and just about to counterattack, but was suppressed by an invisible pressure, halting his movements. The gap in strength was clearly not large, yet it felt like a world of difference, not even on the same level. Stop, you're no match for him. Continuing is only self-humiliation. Dark clouds gathered as a giant flood dragon appeared in the clouds, its voice deep and authoritative. Yes, boss. Although unwilling, Ling Tianhu understood that continuing the fight would only lead to defeat. Jialong turned his head to look at Ling Xiao. Your matter is settled, Senior Xuanmu has already informed me. I advise you to leave. Ling Xiao felt the aura of the Jialong's eightfold heaven immortal realm, as steady as a rock, and a fighting spirit quietly arose in his heart. If it weren't for urgent matters, he would have long been unable to resist the urge to fight. Go ahead, it saves me some effort. But I'm quite interested in you. How about a sparring match another day? Jialong's lantern-like giant eyes stared at Ling Xiao calmly and said, a difference of 1 cultivation level is an insurmountable gap. If you want to spar, improve your cultivation first. I heard you're about to break through? The flood dragon has lived for a long time and has witnessed countless human geniuses rise. When it reached the Divine King realm, it once took human form to travel the mortal world. Although humans progress quickly, their bodies are fragile and far inferior to those of demon beasts. Its human form was once an invincible existence, frequently engaging in battles beyond its level. Its appearance this time was already a high compliment to Ling Xiao, and the words about sparring added a layer of anticipation. Ling Xiao showed no interest during the battle. Even after he had punched back the giant horn rhino and earth-shaking ape, he still couldn't stir the slightest ripple of excitement. Since that's the case, I'll come back to fight you in 10 days, Ling Xiao said coldly, his eyes burning with fighting spirit. The Jialong stared at him, pondered for a moment, and finally nodded. 10 days? Fine, I agree, for Xu and Mue's sake. It knew that if it refused, Ling Xiao would definitely find a way to cause trouble again, so it was better to agree directly and save the effort. The 5 demon beasts' expressions changed drastically. This meant that the human in front of them had actually earned the right to fight the boss. Especially Ling Tianhu, who was shocked to the core. He had just planned to take advantage of Ling Xiao's departure to launch a surprise attack for revenge, but this person's strength was so formidable that acting rashly would likely mean certain death. 10 days, be punctual. Ling Xiao laughed loudly, his figure suddenly soaring into the air, turning into a streak of lightning and disappearing over the horizon. Boss, are you really going to fight him? The giant horn rhino rubbed its horn, its voice tinged with caution. He is extraordinarily strong, and his body is tough. Most importantly, he carries no trace of the temple's lackeys. The Jialong watched Ling Xiao leave, speaking in a steady tone. This matter ends here. Immortal realm demon beasts must no longer stay on the mountain outskirts. If humans kill any of us by mistake again, our plan will be hindered. A fierce light flashed in the Jialong's eyes as it swept over the 5 beasts, full of warning. By the command of the 5 beasts. The demons responded in unison, except for Ling Tianhu, who bowed his head in silence, his mind heavy with worries. The flood dragon disappeared into the air, leaving the 5 beasts looking at each other in confusion. Disperse, do not expose yourselves before the plan starts. Sharp light flickered in the golden eagle's eyes as he locked his gaze on Ling Tianhu, speaking coldly, the boss's wrath is not something you Ling Tianhu can bear. Ling Tianhu remained silent, and the various demons scattered one after another. In Xingmu City, Ling Xiao returned to his own courtyard. Inside the courtyard, several infiltrators lay unconscious, scattered all over the ground. These guys were all spies he had caught using a formation he set up. Looks like quite a few people are watching me. Seems I really am outstanding. Ling Xiao smiled easily, not killing them, only taking the valuable treasures on their bodies before tossing them aside. In the center of the courtyard, the core of the spirit-gathering formation, where the spiritual energy was the most concentrated. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged, the source of the wood element slowly rotating in front of him, emitting a dazzling light. He held his breath and focused his mind, beginning to absorb the primordial energy. The primordial essence of the divine trees would contain endless life fluctuations, and once absorbed, it surged wildly within his body. The physical body continuously strengthened, blood surged, power skyrocketed, and Ling Xiao felt the spiritual energy within rapidly expanding. His realm quietly broke through. Immortal realm, 8th heaven. He opened his eyes, and the source energy about the size of a soccer ball in front of him had completely dissipated. The qi and blood inside roared, deafeningly loud. Looking at the attribute table, Ling Xiao's face was full of a radiant glow of surprise. Name, Ling Xiao. Cultivation level, Immortal Realm, 8th Heaven. Physical strength, Ultimate Enhancement. Spiritual power, surging. He knew that the real battle was just beginning. Count, 1818. Martial Realm, Immortal Realm, 8th Heaven. Spiritual Realm, Immortal Realm, 10th Heaven with Tao Rhythm Blessing. Vitality, 12 trillion 1 point equals 3 trillion kilograms of strength. Soul, 10 trillion Guy. Secondary Profession Grand Master, 10 type 17th rank, medium grade, 05 quintillion, legendary level. Skill, Weapon Master Triple Tau, 150x, 010 to the power of 15. Laws, 3000 limit domain, 480 types. Talent, Undying Divine Body Immortal level, Combat Power 5000%. Human Emperor Body Heavenly Tao level, Enhancement 10 trillion. Void Dragon Body Immortal grade, Flesh 2048. Power of Creation 17th Tier Supreme, 2999 types. Cultivation Method. Martial Arts. Item. Physical Combat Power, Super Immortal Realm, 6th Heaven. Ultimate Combat Power, Super Immortal Realm, 6th Heaven. Before the breakthrough, Ling Zhao's physical combat power was only at the Super Immortal Realm, 4th Heaven, and the ultimate combat power was the same. After absorbing the essence of Xuanmu, both his physical and ultimate combat power suddenly soared to the super-immortal realm, sixth heaven. This astonishing leap far exceeded Ling Zhao's expectations. The divine tree-seeking wood fruit truly lived up to its name. The power of a 17th-tier peak treasure made Ling Xiao ecstatic. Just as Ling Xiao was immersed in the joy of his power surge, a profound and unfathomable aura suddenly flashed through his mind. That power was vast yet subtle, penetrating perception and vanishing in an instant. He quickly unleashed the time element, attempting to reverse time to capture that aura, but was blocked by an invisible barrier, unable to reach it. The feeling was like the helplessness he first experienced when facing the heavenly Taoist rules, filling him with despair. "System, what is this?" Ling Xiao asked softly. The system replied, "Ding 15 host, this is the aura of transcendence. Your combat power has reached the threshold of transcendence." "Aura of transcendence?" Ling Xiao murmured, determination flashing in his eyes. Apart from the world's heavenly Tao consciousness, only the legendary transcendence could bring such a sensation. Though he could not fully grasp it, Ling Xiao had already touched the edge of transcendence. As long as his cultivation climbed higher, one day he would truly transcend the mortal world. The joy gradually subsided, and Ling Xiao sobered up. Transcendence was not yet achieved, and the road ahead was still long. This breakthrough took 7 days, and only a few days remained before the decisive battle with the Jiaolong. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao began to stabilize his cultivation, preparing to enter seclusion for improvement. Suddenly, the formation outside the courtyard was triggered again. Annoying. Ling Xiao frowned tightly, instantly unleashing the full power of the formation. Outside, a piercing scream echoed. His figure flashed, appearing outside the courtyard. 3 black-robed men lay on the ground, wailing in pain, their faces twisted in agony. Ling Xiao approached and saw that they wore Dark Knight identity tokens at their waists. He had one himself and was very familiar with them. His expression turned cold, and Ling Xiao acted swiftly, sealing the 3's cultivation. Threads of spiritual power wrapped around them, dragging them toward the Dark Knight organization. The strange scene attracted onlookers. Everyone had seen Ling Xiao before, the legendary figure who had defeated Sun Jian of the Hazong Hall, and no one dared to intervene. Ling Xiao dragged the 3 men quickly to the Dark Knight escape, casually tossing them at the entrance like discarded objects, indifferent. "Sir, what is this?" The duty attendant recognized Ling Xiao, his heart tightening, and quickly stepped forward to ask. Ling Xiao said coldly, "Where is the Dark Priest? Tell him to come out." The waiter said coldly, "Lord Shadow Priest is resting. If you have business, it's better to speak inside. There are too many people outside, not convenient." He forced himself to speak to Ling Xiao, sensing a strong murderous intent from Ling Xiao's cold words. Although he knew Ling Xiao held the young master's order and dared not offend him lightly, he feared offending the Shadow Priest even more, so he could only respond perfunctorily. Ling Xiao sneered, "Go inside and talk, but none of these 3 move. If anyone dares, I want to go easy." As the words fell, the air instantly froze, the chill overwhelming. Just as he entered the room, the Shadow Priest hurried over and asked, "Lord Ling Xiao, why have you come?" Ling Xiao's gaze was sharp, and he coldly retorted, "Weren't you the one who invited me?" The Shadow Priest was stunned, frowning tightly. "If I invited you, why would I let you come in person? I would have come myself." He sensed hostility in Ling Xiao's words and felt a tightening in his heart. Although he hadn't detained anyone, he had bought a residence for Ling Xiao in the northern part of the city, which should settle things. The matter was over, so why was Ling Xiao still so furious? Ling Xiao stared at the Shadow Priest. "Then how do you explain these 3? Don't tell me they're not from your Shadow Knight." And Mu hurriedly got up to check and found that the 3 men were indeed members of Yi, their identity tokens valid. He frowned, "They belong to Yi. Did they offend you, Lord? I'll kill them immediately to avenge you." He didn't know the 3 men personally. Yi was too vast, and he was only the supervisor of Qingmu City, so he couldn't know everyone. But these men had been with Yi for a while, so someone must have assigned them a task without his knowledge, causing this trouble. Ling Xiao said coldly, "Kill? If I wanted to kill them, would I let you see it? These 3 sneaked into my courtyard while I was in seclusion. Wasn't this done by you?" The Shadow Priest awkwardly shook his head. "You misunderstand, Lord Ling. I absolutely had nothing to do with this. I will investigate immediately and give you an explanation." His mind was in turmoil. The Shadow Knight's missions were strictly divided by city, and different branches did not communicate. If a mission targeting Ling Xiao was to be issued, it had to be reported to him first and approved. He was completely unaware of all this. There's a mole. The Shadow Priestess' heart jolted as he disappeared into the shadows with the 3 men. Ling Xiao observed the Dark Priest's behavior and judged that the Dark Priest was innocent, but since he was a member of the Night faction, it was reasonable to ask him to handle the matter. In the depths of the Dark Knight's secret chamber, the Shadow Priest revealed his identity token and questioned the three who had awakened. "What mission did you take on?" The three of them trembled. "A level 4 mission, to investigate the residence of the troublemakers in the northern part of the city." The three knew that causing a stir among the city officials meant a great disaster was imminent. The Dark Shepherd asked, "Where did you receive it? Who issued it?" He already had a suspicion in his heart. Very few in Qingmu City could issue a level 4 task, and the one who issued it behind his back was even more unique. The three answered, "We picked them up here 3 days ago. We don't know exactly who ordered it." The Shadow Priest's eyes were like knives, coldly staring at them, the dark night clouds growing even thicker. "Not sure." The few hurriedly distanced themselves, then immediately spilled out everything they knew. "What a bunch of useless fools, how dare you provoke that guy? He doesn't even care about the temple you're asking for death." When the Shadow Priest heard the words 3 days ago, a trace of gloom flashed in his eyes. Looking at the few in front of him, he wished they had never appeared. In an instant, a black light flashed in the Shadow Priest's hand, and the three heads fell to the ground with a thud, blood splattering. "Call Lu Ran to see me." The Shadow Priest took a deep breath, struggling to calm his emotions, and gave a cold order. Soon, a graceful figure walked over slowly. "Move faster." Lu Ran's gaze swept over the three dead on the ground, his face calm and unruffled, then turned to Enmu. "Why? You clearly know that person is Yi Wuxin's, and by doing this, aren't you pushing us to oppose Yi Wuxin and walk a dead end?" The Shadow Priest looked at this longtime companion with a heavy heart, his voice filled with pain. "Opposition? Dead end? It's just to test his background. To be honest, I'm helping young Master Yi Wuxin investigate Ling Xiao. It's not a merit, but there's absolutely no mistake." Lu Ran sneered, not taking the matter seriously at all. "Testing? Is this something you get to decide? Take a look at what this is." The Shadow Priest took out a dark book from his bosom and handed it to Lu Ran. Lu Ran opened it and saw the 4 characters "Master's Order is like heaven" prominently displayed, with Yi Wuxin's seal shining brightly. "Is this fake? This thing must be forged. Who would dare forge it?" The Shadow Priest said helplessly, "I specifically asked Yi Wuxin for this answer." "Impossible. Even if it were true, wouldn't it be enough for me to just apologize? I don't believe he can do anything to me, at most he'll just scold me a few times." Although Lu Ran was shocked, she still spoke casually. She paid no attention to the 3 corpses on the ground. There are many dead in the Dark Night. This way of dying is considered peaceful. Hopefully so, this gentleman is not to be trifled with. The Shadow Priest felt disheartened. If he hadn't driven Ling Xiao away first, things might have calmed down. But as soon as he was sent off, the people of the night came to spy. How could one not suspect something? TCH, making a mountain out of a molehill, watch me. Lu Ran sneered and turned to walk straight toward Ling Xiao. "Handsome young man, this was my sister's recklessness. How about I cook for you myself and prepare a feast to make amends?" Lu Ran's posture was charming as she deliberately leaned in, speaking coquettishly. "Is this your way of making amends?" Ling Xiao's gaze was cold and sharp. He ignored Lu Ran and instead stared at the Shadow Priest behind her. "Lord Ling Xiao, this is truly a misunderstanding. Lu Ran is also a supporter of young Master Yi Wuxin, so let's just drop it. But the compensation will definitely not be less," the Dark Shepherd said through gritted teeth. "Compensation? You trespassed into my courtyard, and you think a mere compensation will settle this? Do you take me for a fool?" Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with cold light. "What is your intention, sir?" And Mu's heart sank, knowing the other party was difficult to deal with. "For the sake of Yi Wuxin's face, I won't kill her. But punishment is necessary. Her cultivation must be stripped." Ling Xiao said coldly, the air instantly freezing. "You want to strip my cultivation?" Lu Ran stared at Ling Xiao in shock, never expecting this handsome young man to be so resolute. "Stripping cultivation is equivalent to severing a cultivator's lifeline. A minor matter? Very well. Since that's the case, I will strip your cultivation. Let's see how you like that." Ling Xiao responded coldly. "Sir, for the sake of young Master Yi Wuxin's face, this punishment." "Don't get excited. You can choose any treasure here as compensation, how about that?" Annie looked at the tense situation and hurriedly spoke to Ling Xiao. "Yi Wuxin's face isn't worth much to me. Sparing her life is already my limit. Don't force me to go back on my word." Ling Xiao sneered, his gaze sharp as a blade. "Trespassing the mansion, who can guarantee they won't be ambushed during seclusion?" Ling Xiao had no interest in those snooping for information. He just wanted to make an example. Unfortunately, Lu Ran got caught in the crossfire and became the sacrificial pawn. Sir, is there really no room for negotiation? And Mu's face darkened, his tone turning cold. He knew clearly that Ling Xiao was only a second or third level immortal realm expert no matter how strong. He shouldn't be hiding in Qingmu City. Facing the shrine, and Mu feared Ling Xiao would have fled long ago. This was in Mu's last stand. He had always upheld Yi Wuxin's face, but now Ling Xiao's contempt was a provocation. If you don't make a move, I will do it myself, but don't expect me to go easy. Ling Xiao's patience was exhausted, his eyes icy as he issued his final ultimatum. Unexpectedly, Anmu did not respond, only stepping back a few paces. You're arrogant. If it weren't for your master's order, who would pay attention to you? The shadow priest roared angrily. I've been in the night for so many years, my contributions far outweigh yours. Destroy my cultivation? What a fool's dream. I'm right here, try making a move. If you take me down, will young master Yi Wuxin take back your young master's order? Without the young master's order, just wait for the endless night of relentless pursuit. I'll trade all my cultivation for your life, and I won't lose. Come on. Lu Ran was completely confused, then suddenly snapped out of it and shouted loudly at Ling Xiao, you just spoke too hastily. If you really dared to ruin me, I bet you wouldn't have the guts even 3 times over. Crack! Ling Xiao's spiritual power suddenly condensed in his hand, transforming into a silver needle, incredibly sharp, stabbing straight into Lu Ran's chest. Caught off guard, Lu Ran, an 8th heaven divine king, was instantly incapacitated, all her painstaking cultivation reduced to nothing. No! Lu Ran's eyes widened in disbelief as she stared at her chest, roaring at Ling Xiao. But without spiritual power to back her, her voice was pitifully weak. Ling Xiao, have you vented enough anger? The dark shepherd hurriedly supported Lu Ran, covering her mouth to prevent her from saying anything provocative, lest Ling Xiao truly lose his mind and kill. Remember, if there's a next time, I won't hesitate to tear this place down. Ling Xiao warned coldly. He knew that the hostility of the 4.9 Dark Knight had already gathered not only Lu Ran, but also the Dark Shepherd, and even the entire Dark Knight faction of Qingmu City. But none of this mattered to him. Controlling Yi Wuxin was to obtain intelligence from the Dark Knight. As long as Yi Wuxin was around, nothing else was important. Ling Xiao, you'd better watch out for yourself. The Dark Shepherd said coldly, exchanging a glance before slowly leaving with Lu Ran. What happened inside the Dark Knight was unknown to outsiders. Ling Xiao was taken into a room. The situation was secretive. But after he safely emerged from the Dark Knight, rumors spread among the upper echelons of Qingmu City, and a sudden sense of awe arose. These disturbances had nothing to do with Ling Xiao. He had returned to his own courtyard, watching the world with cold eyes. After the shock, Ling Xiao was finally able to enjoy a rare period of tranquility. He secluded himself to cultivate. Time flew by, 3 days in a blink, his eyes shining with joy. His cultivation was not yet stable, but already sufficient to handle combat. He suddenly stood up and flew toward the silent mountains in the north of the city. At the mountain entrance, no one stopped his flight, but someone looked at him mockingly. You came early. A fierce wind rose, sand and stones flying, as a huge golden eagle spread its wings and soared out, its imposing presence intimidating the entire scene. I don't like being late. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, never expecting to be greeted by this golden eagle. Before the flood dragon emerged, the golden eagle was the silent mountain range's king. Its personal welcome was a great sign of respect. Ling Xiao sighed inwardly, the flood dragon and the golden eagle really know how to behave, or rather, how to act like beasts. Follow me, the boss is waiting for you at the Thunder Pool. The golden eagle said coldly, its gaze sweeping over the greedy adventurers below. With a flap of its wings, a fierce wind swept through, blowing the greedy ones away. Some low-level cultivators even fainted. Though it acted against Ling Xiao, it did not strike hard, clearly holding back. Then, the golden eagle shot through the air like a streak of golden light, leading the way at an astonishing speed. Is this a show of force to warn me? Ling Xiao shook his head with a smile, and with a thought, teleported to the sky above the thunder pool. Beneath the thunder pool, the flood dragon's massive body was submerged, only its huge head visible. Seeing Ling Xiao appear, it showed delight. The spatial fluctuations are powerful. I didn't expect you to have such mastery over spatial elements. It seems today's battle won't be boring, the Jelon laughed. This battle was originally agreed upon to save face for Xuanmu, intending to end in a few rounds, but Ling Xiao's strength shocked him. Suddenly, a gust of wind howled as a golden eagle appeared abruptly. It thought it had shaken off Ling Xiao, but then saw him reappear, utterly stunned. Not bad speed, Ling Xiao said coldly, watching the golden eagle before turning his gaze to the Jelon. Golden eagle, fall back, the Jelon ordered quietly. Although extremely fast, the difference in spatial teleportation forced the golden eagle to retreat helplessly. Your cultivation is unstable. Are you sure you want to fight? The Jialong transformed into a human-shaped youth of equal height to Ling Xiao, his voice deep. Precisely because of that, I came to stabilize my cultivation. Ling Xiao smiled, spiritual power surging within him as the aura of the eightfold heaven immortal realm burst forth instantly. Stabilize through battle? Fine, I'll satisfy you. Thunderlight flickered around the flood dragon, lightning swirling. Ling Xiao's blood energy surged like a rainbow, fists clenched tightly, steps strange, suddenly charging toward the flood dragon. Good fists. The Jialong was delighted, not expecting this human to have such potential. Such formidable vitality was beyond ordinary people. If not for confirming his identity, he might have thought the other was a demon beast in human form. The Jialong laughed heartily and charged with a punch. Boom! Two powerful forces collided, space twisted, and cracks appeared faintly. Your body is so tough, I underestimated you. Their fists met blow for blow, neither yielding an inch. The Jialong's talent was extraordinary, his fighting spirit fierce. The battle had only just begun. Among demon beasts, if the true dragon does not appear, the Jialong is unquestionably supreme. The Jialong's body was extremely tough, having been tempered for years in the Thunder Pool, with strength comparable to a master of the ninth heaven immortal realm, even surpassing some. However, Ling Xiao was only mobilizing part of his physical power at this moment. This was merely a spar. With no grudge between them, Ling Xiao naturally would not attack at full strength. With his power, if he truly threw a full-strength punch, it would be enough to shatter the Jialong's body into a mist of blood. Your body is impressive, Ling Xiao praised lightly. It had been a long time since he met an opponent who could stimulate such power in him. This Jialong's physical strength definitely ranked among the top of the powerful beings he had encountered. Interesting. Since that's the case, I won't hold back either. The Jialong's eyes sharpened, though slightly surprised. He had already sensed this human was no ordinary person. That's how it should be, only then is it worth watching. Ling Xiao's mouth curled up with fighting spirit. Bang bang! Two figures suddenly flashed, after images filling the sky, fists and feet clashing, causing continuous explosive sounds. After an hour, both sides tacitly stopped. Countless rounds of combat, their strengths thoroughly understood. Ling Xiao was convinced that the dragon before him was capable of contending with most immortal realm ninth heaven experts. The dragon was shocked by the potential of humans, appearing frail but possessing astonishing combat power. Just now it had fully unleashed its bloodline, trying to suppress the opponent, but to no effect. At first encounter, this human was only immortal realm 7th heaven, but now having just broken through, his strength surpassed its own. It even suspected that it was the monster beast. Such a strong one, hasn't the shrine ever sought you out? The dragon asked curiously. After the battle, Ling Xiao remained calm and composed. The dragon adjusted its mindset, admitting the opponent was superior, no longer arrogant. Shrine? I wish they would come, Ling Xiao sneered. From your tone, it seems you have grievances with the shrine, the dragon asked in puzzlement. The shrine holds a revered status in the human world. How could that be? If I could find them, I'd like to challenge the shrine. Unfortunately, they hide too deeply, so I can only wait for them to come to me, Ling Xiao said with a meaningful smile. His reason for seeking the shrine was partly for Lin Qingtian, but more so because when the world's heavenly Dao departed back then, it must have left a way out. And this fallback, besides the temple, there is nowhere else. Your courage is commendable. Although I know you are strong, the temple is not as simple as it appears. I consider myself a strong one, but if I entered the temple, I'm afraid my combat power wouldn't even make it into the top 100. The dragon's face darkened as it slowly voiced its true feelings. Back then, it was once invited by the temple. The dragon's pride was extremely high, so it refused and spoke arrogantly in response. As a result, the temple sent people to the Silent Mountains, and with just 3 moves, they defeated the Flood Dragon. If the opponent had not shown mercy, the Flood Dragon would have long been reduced to bones. Although not dead, it was banished to the Silent Mountains, forging a deep enmity between the two. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, just as I wish. The stronger the temple, the more interested I become. Bullying the weak is not my style. As soon as he finished speaking, his gaze deepened and burned, awaiting the arrival of the next challenge. The fighting spirit suddenly ignited in his eyes. Provoking a powerhouse like you, the temple is bound to suffer a great loss. The Jialong curled his lips into a cold sneer, his eyes complexly fixed on Ling Xiao. Bearing the bloodline of the Jialong, its pride was extremely high. Although it had once been defeated by a temple expert, it had always regarded the opponent as a benchmark and strived to catch up. It had originally planned to break through to the ninth heaven of the immortal realm before challenging the temple again. But after witnessing Ling Xiao's strength, it had no choice but to give up helplessly. With Ling Xiao's strength unable to shake the temple, if I go again, I will only bring disgrace upon myself. A wave of gloom swept through its heart. This thunder pool is not bad. I want to rest here for a few days, is that alright? Ling Xiao's gaze fell on the thunder pool below, without waiting for a reply. The thunder pool connected to the underground spiritual veins, rich in spiritual power. Moreover, due to the constant bombardment of natural thunder over the years, the power of thunder had fused within, making it an excellent holy ground for tempering the body. Of course, you can train here as long as you want. The Jiaolong readily agreed. The thunder pool is renewable, and making a good connection through this is also a good thing. Ling Xiao nodded, leapt into the thunder pool, and began secluded cultivation. More than 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. My cultivation is stable now, but the thunder pool's spiritual power has been greatly depleted and will be hard to recover in a short time. I owe quite a favor here. Ling Xiao opened his eyes, looking at the thunder pool, which was originally dozens of meters deep but now only 1 or 2 meters deep, feeling a bit regretful. If it weren't for this, he would have had difficulty fully awakening from his cultivation. After bidding farewell to the Jiaolong, Ling Xiao left the Silent Mountains and returned to Qingmu City. Master, the Dark Knight organization has dispatched a top-level assassination mission targeting you. The order came directly from the higher-ups, and I am currently investigating the issuer of the mission. Suddenly, the voice of Yi Wuxin echoed in his mind. Still Haven Tea broken through? Ling Xiao questioned. With his spiritual power, he should have long surpassed the bottleneck of the immortal realm. Master, not yet. I plan to break through to the second heaven of the immortal realm in one go and compete for the position of first holy son. Yi Wuxin's voice trembled slightly, clearly worried about angering Ling Xiao. Good, keep investigating who is causing trouble behind the scenes. Tell me immediately once you find out. Ling Xiao responded calmly, understanding that Yi Wuxin's choice was the best strategy. He only needed to hold the information. Yes, master. Yi Wuxin's voice quickly faded away. The Dark Knight organization's moves are not simple. The Temple's methods are indeed unfathomable. It seems they are testing me. Ling Xiao muttered to himself. If this matter had nothing to do with the temple, he absolutely would not believe it. Since they have come, there will be a battle. Under the night sky, the bright moon hung high above Qingmu City, its cold light casting scattered spots on the ground. Flowers and grass by the roadside gently swayed, the scene serene and beautiful. Squeak! Suddenly, a foot stepped on the roadside wildflower 063. Beneath the flower was a discarded wooden board, which was gently moved aside, producing a piercing sound. Though faint, it was exceptionally clear in the silent night. Really careless, daring to attempt an assassination at this level? What is the Dark Knight thinking? Ling Xiao lay on the rocking chair in the courtyard, slowly opening his eyes, his gaze piercing through the courtyard wall. Outside the wall, a shadow crept stealthily closer. This person's cultivation was at the first level of the immortal realm, one of the top experts in Qingmu City. The dagger in his hand gleamed coldly, radiating a chilling murderous intent under the moonlight. Clatter! The shadow had reached the edge of the formation, fingers lightly touching, ready to act. He obviously understood the power of this formation and did not attack immediately. Instead, he took out a smooth pearl from his bosom and placed it in his mouth. In an instant, his aura strangely began to fade, eventually disappearing without a trace from the spot. When the aura reappeared, he was already hidden in a corner of the Ling Xiao courtyard. Interesting. I've never seen something like this before. A flash of excitement crossed Ling Xiao's eyes. Silently infiltrating his formation's protective circle, this pearl was definitely no ordinary object. System, what kind of treasure is this? Ding host, this is a boundary-breaking pearl. A 15th rank lower grade consumable artifact capable of breaking through most formations and seals. Boundary-breaking pearl? Sounds novel. But a 15th rank treasure being easily used by someone at the first level of the immortal realm? Seems like he has an extraordinary identity. Ling Xiao's gaze fixed tightly on the sneaky figure, a strong interest welling up in his heart. In an instant, his figure strangely merged into the void and vanished. Only the rocking chair swayed alone, as if never ceasing. These guys are really over the top, making it as hard as climbing to heaven here, yet they came in easily. I want to see what kind of ability this shameless guy actually has. A trace of joy barely hidden appeared at the infiltrator's lips as he whispered to himself. Just as he was about to continue investigating, a sudden chill came from behind. You took the wrong path. Ahead is the garden. A cold and sharp voice suddenly rang out, causing his heart to jolt, and his whole body instantly went limp and collapsed to the ground. Who are you? I'm the shameless guy you mentioned. What? Weren't you looking for me? Ling Xiao was surprised to find that the first to break through the defenses of his courtyard was actually a young girl who teased him. Ling Xiao? Are you that bastard Ling Xiao? Though the girl appeared flustered, she questioned him sternly. Bastard? Shameless? Interesting. Where did you hear those adjectives? I don't have much to do with your dark night, do I? Ling Xiao shook his head helplessly. Anyone would feel uncomfortable being called a shameless bastard by a young girl. If an outsider heard this, they might think he was bullying the girl. Dark Knight? I'm not some filthy member of Dark Knight. The girl's voice rose sharply in anger upon hearing this. If you're not from Dark Knight, then why are you carrying a dagger? Ling Xiao raised an eyebrow slightly, recalling the boundary-breaking pearl, and a suspicion arose in his mind. I'm from the temple. The dagger is for avenging myself against a despicable guy like you. The girl quickly calmed down, gripping the dagger tightly, and shouted fiercely. Avenging? I've never even met you, so what grudge could there be? Ling Xiao's smile darkened as he teased back. You hurt my third grandfather and destroyed our spirit power tower, don't deny it. The girl frowned deeply, took several steps back abruptly, her body tensed, the dagger hand raised slightly, ready to strike a fatal blow at any moment. Your third grandfather? The one who sent threatening thoughts? That's actually true. Ling Xiao admitted frankly, leaving the girl momentarily stunned. It's good that you admitted it. Let me teach you a harsh lesson. Don't worry, I won't kill you. The girl was still smiling just moments ago, but the next moment the dagger silently swung out. Your moves are fierce, not bad. Ling Xiao's figure flashed, easily dodging the opponent's deadly strike. Immediately after, his spiritual power erupted, transforming into a chain that swiftly wrapped around the girl's hands. Clang! The dagger fell to the ground. But the girl reacted quickly, a golden light blossoming as it stubbornly corroded the spiritual power chain. However, her expression suddenly changed. That golden light was her strongest protective treasure, yet it couldn't break through Ling Xiao's casually launched attack. Although before setting out, she had already heard rumors about Ling Xiao, and even the temple had begun to doubt his identity. His strength far exceeded the fifth heaven of the immortal realm. However, the girl held a special status within the temple, having grown up there since childhood and looked down on outsiders. In her eyes, those experts from the outside world at the fifth heaven of the immortal realm were only equivalent to the second or third heaven level within the temple. Such figures she could easily defeat long ago. Coupled with the treasures she carried for protection, she dared to swagger over to cause trouble for Ling Xiao. But reality completely overturned her expectations. Ling Xiao's power far exceeded anything she had imagined. What is your name? Where is the temple? Tell me honestly, and I might consider letting you off. Ling Xiao's gaze was cold and sharp, his voice low but oppressive. Not even if you kill me will you pry a single word from my mouth, the girl responded proudly, her gaze stern, clearly convinced that Ling Xiao would not act rashly. As a member of the temple, although this was her first time stepping outside the temple, she knew that the outside world always held the temple in great reverence. Since the temple's establishment, the rumor that no one who went out had ever been killed was deeply rooted. Since that's the case, do you know about the spirit god prohibition seal? Ling Xiao's tone was without surprise. If she revealed this matter easily, it would only make him doubt its authenticity. That's just a mental cultivation method passed down in the temple. If you let me go, I might share some of it with you. The girl seemed a bit surprised and tried to soften her tone. Have you practiced it? Ling Xiao pressed on relentlessly, still remembering Ling Bai's prophecy, which was closely related to this technique. If she had practiced it, perhaps he could extract useful clues from her mind. I wouldn't bother with that trash technique. The girl sneered, full of disdain. What a pity. Are you really not going to reveal the temple's location? Ling Xiao asked disappointedly, then shifted his tone to threaten. Letting you go is something I still have to think carefully about. Just wait. My temple people will come out soon. If you don't release me, you won't be able to handle the consequences. The girl was fearless and instead threatened to counterattack. I really want to see what your temple can do to me. But I'm curious, if I let you go, would you be grateful that I spared your life and begged the temple not to cause trouble? Ling Xiao sneered, his tone full of provocation. Letting me go is what you should do. At most, I guarantee I won't make a move within 3 days. That's my biggest concession. The girl retorted proudly. You're going to let me go? You won't make a move within 3 days, which means you'll look for a chance to kill me after 3 days, is that what you mean? Ling Xiao asked helplessly. Of course. I boldly promise to take you back to the temple I can't lose face. The girl remained arrogant as ever, completely unaware of the flaw in her words. The people of the temple are indeed extremely arrogant. I've encountered them before, but only now do I truly realize how absurd their arrogance is, Ling Xiao said, a trace of disappointment flashing in his eyes. The girl was young and had considerable cultivation, he could have spared her life. But her mind was deeply rooted in the belief that the temple was supreme and outsiders were nothing but ants. To put it bluntly, the people of the temple simply don't regard outsiders as human. If that's the case, how could Ling Xiao easily let go of the trouble before him? You'll reflect well in my little world. The temple has spoiled you too much. If you're still arrogant after 3 days, don't blame me for being ruthless. Ling Xiao waved his hand, sealing the girl's cultivation and taking her into his little world. He was reluctant to kill easily, but the situation was pressing. Not killing her would be a betrayal of the temple's years of nurturing. This arrogance had made her completely disregard others as human. It was imaginable that if the entire temple shared this mentality, their existence would be far from a blessing to this universe. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao's impression of the temple grew even colder. Tonight, everything seemed even darker. Just as 063 Ling Xiao subdued the woman with a single move, 9 cold figures suddenly appeared outside the courtyard. They moved swiftly, their auras restrained. Each was at the peak of the Divine King realm, their killing intent faint but revealing extraordinary strength. Gesturing rapidly, their commands flew like arrows. The group dispersed in all directions, their array plates glowing with scarlet blood droplets. The blood light flared suddenly, the corrosive aura spewing like venomous snakes, relentlessly assaulting the array Ling Xiao had set. The array cracked and fissures quietly appeared. The 9 maintained calm expressions, spitting blood from their mouths, crushing blood pouches and throwing them at the array. The pouches contained the blood of demonic beasts, filthy beyond measure, and with the array's cooperation, their power multiplied exponentially. In a split second, a fissure 3 people wide tore through the air. 9 people stood motionless, and shadows behind them slowly stepped into the rift. This person's cultivation was at the immortal realm, 5th heaven, yet his aura was deeply concealed, not even noticed by Ling Xiao at first glance. Clearly, he was the backbone of this Dark Night mission. The cultivation technique is quite interesting, able to hide one's presence. Ling Xiao's figure suddenly appeared, coldly staring at the assassin. This is the first time I've seen someone who can fool my spiritual perception. Right in front of him, yet ignored, this feeling sent a shock through Ling Xiao's heart. The enemy was as invisible as air, and the battle's outcome was instantly decided. The assassin was slightly stunned but still did not turn around. No matter how miraculous your technique is, can you escape my eyes? Ling Xiao sneered coldly. Escape? There are only a handful of places in the universe that can hide from my eyes. You are nothing but a minor player in the immortal 5 realms. The assassin did not resist, speaking softly. What do you seek, sir? Speak your request. With such a disparity in strength, resistance was useless. Negotiation was the only option. Ling Xiao's smile was faint. I like your straightforwardness. Mastermind behind the scenes, lend me your cultivation method once more. Consider today's matter as if it never happened. The assassin named Yiwari said, my cultivation method is a secret passed down within my sect and is not to be leaked. But I can share some of my insights with you. Though not profound, they will satisfy your curiosity. A memory flashed through Ling Xiao's mind, Yiwari, the rival of Yi Wuxin. So he had unwittingly become entangled in the internal power struggle of the Dark Night. After reminding the image of Yi Wuxin in his mind to be extra cautious, Ling Xiao paid no further attention. A few Dark Night assassins were nothing. What truly concerned him was the motive behind this assassination. What is your name? I. Dark Walker, repaying a favor, the assassin replied succinctly, his tone cold. Favor repaid, then help me protect Yi Wuxin's safety. Ling Xiao's gaze was sharp as lightning, his words resolute. Yi Wuxin? No problem. The Dark Walker was momentarily stunned, then agreed. Only now did he realize this was not an ordinary assassination but a plunge into a whirlpool of power. Let us go. Remember to restore the formation. Using filthy methods to disrupt spiritual energy flow, how could you come up with such a dirty trick? Ling Xiao waved his hand as if shooing away flies, sneering as he sent the Dark Walker away, instructing him to clean up outside. That bloody filth would take some time to dissipate. Ling Xiao opened the insights on the Wang Wujing, his eyes lighting up. The founder's ingenious ideas completely shocked him. Ordinary cultivation methods absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, their aura overwhelming, making cultivation levels obvious. But this method did the opposite. At the early stage of cultivation, it actively emitted its own aura, absorbing spiritual energy remotely, with no direct contact between body and energy. The aura was extremely low, as if out of sync with heaven and earth, making concealment extremely effective. This made going unnoticed effortless. Ling Xiao silently praised it, though not perfect. For a professional assassin, this was definitely a top-tier concealment method. He skimmed briefly, summing it up in 2 words: useless yet indispensable. Tasteless and hard to give up. Perhaps in the future, when he found the right candidate, he would refine and teach it. In the following 2 days, it seemed all forces feared Ling Xiao. No one dared to act rashly. The air was thick with tense anticipation. Suddenly, a thunderclap exploded in the clear sky. Above the towering spire that pierced the clouds, a pitch-black spatial rift tore open. "The air here is filthy, it's really disgusting," a voice complained quietly. "Don't make a fuss, speak privately." Another person whispered, "Be careful not to be overheard, or we'll have trouble from above." "Don't worry, I know my limits." The third person laughed. "Remember, the bigger picture comes first. If you break the rules, I'll take you away immediately." Brother Bai said sternly. "I know I was wrong, Brother Bai. It's so hard to get out, don't send me back," Xiao Xian hurriedly defended himself. 2 figures broke through space, surrounded by an invisible barrier that prevented outsiders from hearing their conversation. Ling Xiao looked at them, shook his head, and sneered coldly, "The people from the temple really aren't that capable." The 2 were only at the 2nd level of the immortal realm, clearly the temple's scouts. Since their master hadn't appeared, Ling Xiao was too lazy to bother with them. As long as they didn't provoke him, he would pretend not to see them. "First, go to the Tongtian Tower and check the damage," the 2 said before flying toward the tower. Although the source of the wild stones here had been lost, the remaining spiritual energy was still abundant. To allow the formation to last longer, it sensed the 2's powerful aura and surprisingly let them enter the tower without any resistance. Bang! 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 Inside the tower, many strong cultivators had already sneaked in quietly, greedily devouring the dense spiritual energy. The 2 from the temple were furious. How dare someone trample on the Tongtian Tower like this? But they remained calm. After all, their status was noble, and they dared not act rashly. The mastermind behind this trouble was Ling Xiao. That person's strength was astonishing. Even the 2 together might not be a match, so they could only endure for the time being. "The formation's damage isn't severe, just energy depletion," one calmly analyzed. "Fortunately, we prepared well. It will only take 2 or 3 days to replenish the energy, and the tower will recover." "Brother Bai, you felt the aura of that Mark II, right?" "How dare they be so arrogant in Qingmu City," the other said indignantly. "So what if I felt it? You want to go die? Don't drag me into this." Brother Bai said coldly. "Brother Bai, I know my limits and would never act recklessly." "Good, let's restore this place first. No matter how strong the opponent is, we have to meet them. If we don't strike first, they have no reason to make the first move. That guy really has some nerve." As they spoke, the 2 took out a huge wild stone from their hands. Although not as large as the one Ling Xiao had taken, it was still enormous. When the wild stone hit the ground, spiritual energy exploded instantly, reviving the spiritual energy inside the tower and gradually restoring the formation's power. The cultivators training in the square all stepped back, fearing being affected. Outside the tower, numerous top-tier forces had been waiting for a long time. Such a commotion had obviously caught their attention. Coupled with the strange phenomena above the tower, they guessed that the temple experts had arrived. "Come in." A defiant voice inside the tower shook the surroundings, ordering everyone to enter. No one dared to delay. The formation was activated, and they all stepped into the tower. "Everyone must know, our temple's celestial tower was recently damaged by a villain, and the guardian was stolen. This crime must be punished." Gu Bai's voice was resolute. "That villain is now roaming freely in Qingmu City. What do you intend to do?" Both Gu Bai and Gu Xian belonged to the temple, sharing the surname Gu, symbolizing the temple's authority. Nearby, an old man cloaked in black whispered, "With an immortal realm cultivation, we are powerless to resist." "Immortal realm?" Gu Bai sneered. "Although Qingmu City has some foundation, your backing forces are strong. Are you really afraid of him?" He was extremely arrogant, viewing Qingmu City as the temple's territory, and other forces as mere parasitic ants. The old man's tone carried a hint of helplessness. "Qingmu City is of great importance. Without the temple's guidance, we cannot act recklessly." Though he said this, a cold murderous intent flickered faintly in his eyes. The Dark Knight faction's attitude toward the temple was ambiguous, having been shocked by the temple's extermination of the Lin family. Ling Xiao's strength was rated by the Dark Knight's upper echelon as Immortal Realm, 7th Heaven, powerful alone, and the Dark Knight dared not provoke him lightly. Currently, Ling Xiao was at odds with both the temple and the Dark Knight, while other forces had not yet been involved. Yi Wuxin played a mediating role within the Dark Knight, so relations between the two sides were not yet irreconcilable. Guidance? I think you just don't want to make an enemy of him. Gu Bai sneered, directly pointing to the truth. If the temple didn't need these forces to maintain the order, it would never hold back. The balance of the Forbidden Land had long been broken by his own hand, and those fence-sitters had already been cut down one by one. I tell you, the three elders are about to descend upon this place. Gu Bai's eyes were sharp, his voice firm and powerful. Tomorrow at noon, I, Ling Xiao, will personally come to your door. Whether you prepare yourselves or choose to destroy your own future, the choice is yours. Although his cultivation had not reached its peak, that arrogance was like that of a peerless master at the ninth heaven of immortality, intimidating the entire audience. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Those with experience understood clearly what the arrival of the three elders of the shrine meant: slaughter, ruthlessness, and mercilessness. Once the elder arrives, the situation will completely spiral out of control, all decision-making power will be stripped away, and fate will be decided by the higher-ups. After the two from the Gu family finished their courtesy, everyone began releasing sound transmission talismans, their voices spreading out like a tide. This spectacular scene naturally caught Ling Xiao's attention. He casually intercepted the transmissions and learned that the third elder was about to arrive. Recalling what the temple woman said about the third grandpa being injured, that old guy he defeated and turned into an energy form, it seemed he was going to personally come back for revenge. With this in mind, Ling Xiao released the girl from the small world. Have you made up your mind? He asked calmly. The girl's face twisted like a demoness, her eyes burning with frenzied murderous intent. Damn you! Just wait. No one has ever dared to bully me like this. You will surely die. Ling Xiao watched coldly, saying icily, stubborn to the end, huh? I'll give you a few days. Here is some news for you, the temple's guest has arrived, and your third grandpa is coming too. Happy now? The girl laughed wildly, her hatred overflowing. Scared, aren't you? Even if you let me go now, I won't spare you. I'll skin you alive and pull out your bones. Truly won't cry until you see the coffin. A cold gleam flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as a ball of fierce flames instantly condensed in his hand, which he threw at the girl without hesitation. A scream tore through the sky as the girl's body was instantly engulfed by the flames. Although the treasures on her body activated their protective shields, they were as fragile as paper against Ling Xiao's fire and dissolved instantly. After a moment, her delicate body turned to ashes and scattered with the wind. After the girl's death, a phantom suddenly appeared, quickly transforming into a sharp attack aimed at Ling Xiao. Just wait. Ling Xiao sneered, suddenly extending his left hand to firmly grasp the attack. Rubbing his hands together, he condensed the attack into a ball of energy. Here, take it back. He turned around, a sly smile curling at the corner of his mouth, and hurled the energy ball fiercely toward the tower. Boom! The explosion roared through the sky, instantly shattering the defensive formation outside the tower. Even the top of the tower was blasted apart. Inside the tower, Gu Bai and Gu Xian appeared in a sorry state, their bodies flickering with treasure light, clearly heavily injured. Damn it! Who did this? Gu Bai roared, his gaze fixed on the north of the city. He had just sensed the presence of the temple, and the attack arrived in an instant. If it weren't for the outer formation blocking most of the force, he would probably be on the brink of death. Brother Bai, this guy is too arrogant. Gu Xian's mouth bled, clearly seriously injured. Let him be arrogant for a few days. Once Elder 3 arrives, he'll be doomed, Gu Bai said grimly. It seemed like someone from the temple died in that direction just now, but I don't know who. The two were burning with rage, vowing revenge. Dare to kill a disciple of my temple, flaying and tendon stripping is the lightest punishment. Gu Xian's eyes flashed with cold light. How can my temple bear to lose face ruling this world? Ling Xiao remained indifferent. The woman could call the third elder third grandpa, indicating a remarkable status, but he already had a plan in mind and responded calmly. Completely unconcerned. Since a grudge has been formed, it cannot be left unresolved. If the roots are not removed when cutting the grass, the spring breeze will cause the weeds to grow again. Damn it! Third elder, depart immediately for Qingmu City. Zillian's life force disappeared there, and the last resort I left on her failed to save her life. Inside the shrine, a roar shook the heavens and the earth, anger burning like flames. Third elder, did Zillian encounter an accident? The third elder respectfully asked the shrine master, who was enveloped in a purple aura. The life-taking curse on her was activated. These words pierced the third elder's heart like a cold blade. The life-taking curse only activates upon the death of the one who said it, without exception. Shrine Master, do you know who was behind this? Shock and anger flickered in the third elder's eyes. Although Gu Zilian appeared arrogant and domineering, within the shrine, she was like the girl next door, with a special status and deeply cherished. If not for being a woman, she would very likely inherit the position of Shrine Master in the future. Not just Qingmu City, but throughout the entire world, very few dare to kill someone from our shrine. That person is very likely the guy you saw in Qingmu City. The Shrine Master's expression turned stern, and with a resolute gaze, he said to the third elder. Elder San understood immediately and set off at once. I must bring back that guy's head to offer sacrifices to Zilian. Elder San responded coldly, his figure flashing and disappearing without a trace. If it weren't for the fact that the energy of the Tongtian Tower in Qingmu City had not yet recovered and could not withstand teleportation, he would have already teleported over. Could that guy be the one mentioned by the heavens in the legend? The temple was empty, the temple master's voice low and carrying an indescribable meaning. Qingmu City. The former tranquility had long been shattered by the attack on the Tongtian Tower, and the air was filled with tension and unease. The blatant attack on the temple completely overturned the world's understanding. Countless forces came upon hearing the news, some showing loyalty, others trying to take advantage of the chaos to break free from the temple's control. Underneath, currents surged with hidden agendas. North of the city, Ling Shao's mansion. You have repeatedly attacked our temple's Tongtian Tower, do you have nothing to say? At noon, Gu Bai and Gu Xian stood above Ling Shao's mansion, looking down with stern voices. Behind them followed a dense crowd, including the four great families and the Dark Knight faction. Though not the highest level of the five major forces, they were the strongest representatives that could be gathered within the city that day. The temple was the supreme existence in this world. An explanation? Are you worthy? Ling Xiao leapt, soaring into the air, landing above Gu Bai's head, full of contempt. Arrogant! Do you know what you're saying? Gu Bai felt the intense mark within Ling Xiao's body, and a murderous intent suddenly arose. But he was not a reckless person. Knowing he was outmatched, he still spoke arrogantly, yet his figure did not move an inch. I don't like people talking while flying, come down. Ling Xiao's gaze was cold and fierce, his aura suddenly unleashed, sharply pressing down on Gu Bai and the others. Thud! Gu Bai, with his immortal realm's second heaven cultivation, could barely resist under Ling Xiao's pressure, soon losing strength to counterattack, heavily falling to the ground. Very well, Ling Xiao, you have truly humiliated me to the extreme. I have never suffered such disgrace in my life. Gu Bai stood up angrily, his eyes wide open, his face flushed red like pig liver. As a member of the temple, his dignity was completely shattered. That's because you've never truly seen me. Ling Xiao responded calmly. The calmer he was, the angrier Gu Bai became. Ling Xiao, the temple has issued a divine kill order. Whoever captures you, the temple promises one thing, your life or death, the temple will not care. Gu Bai said coldly, taking out a shining golden token from his chest pocket, with 100 people behind him ready to strike. Everyone's eyes burned brightly, and tempting voices rose one after another. Divine killing order. It's actually the divine killing order. How many years has it been since we last saw one? The last time was when that family was wiped out. Take him down, the temptation is too great. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to provoke the divine temple's bounty divine killing order. Such treatment was once only enjoyed by the Lin family, one of the 5 great families. Once the divine temple agrees, it can instantly elevate an unknown family to a top-tier force, gaining the divine temple's recognition. This temptation was almost irresistible. Their gazes turned to Ling Xiao, burning with enthusiasm. But a few remained calm and expressionless. Ling Xiao's ability to stir such a commotion in the divine temple meant he was no ordinary person. However, most people's rationality was drowned by temptation. Though aware of the danger, their greed was hard to conceal. Kill! From the crowd, a person surged with spiritual power, his aura erupting to the first level of the immortal realm, wielding a divine weapon, and charged fiercely at Ling Xiao. As this person moved, it triggered a chain reaction. More people rushed out, seemingly afraid their chance for credit would be stolen. Is the divine temple's method this despicable? They don't dare to act personally, so they send these cannon fodder? Ling Xiao sneered, his gaze sweeping over the frenzied enemy crowd. Even if an ant swarm could kill an elephant, these cultivators were at most at the 3rd level of the immortal realm. Wanting to kill him was simply a fool's dream. But Ling Xiao was hot-tempered. Though he knew they were manipulated by Gu Bai, daring to make a move meant their fate was sealed. Choices come with a price. The Black Heaven Demon Spear slowly appeared in his hand, the spear tip condensing a blazing spear aura. Ling Xiao swung the spear aura cutting through the air like a released arrow, shooting straight into the crowd. Bang! 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 Where the spear aura struck, enemies fell one after another, their lives extinguished in an instant, dust flying everywhere. This must be his strongest skill. Don't be afraid, charge. Ling Xiao's strike stunned the crowd, but someone shouted, and the crowd instantly charged wildly again. Death gun technique. Ling Xiao sneered coldly, wielding the Black Heaven Demon Spear like a raging storm. Spear rays shot out continuously, each one taking a life. People harbored illusions even if hope was slim, they firmly believed they could survive. Flesh and blood flew everywhere, corpses lay all over the ground. Some retreated, but more became even more frenzied. Ling Xiao knew clearly that under such great temptation, they had long since lost their reason. Under the death gun technique, countless enemy heads had already fallen, not a single charger survived. Those who hadn't acted yet secretly felt relieved. What other means do you have? Ling Xiao gripped his spear, standing atop a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood, like a god of death from hell, coldly staring at Gu Bai not far away. Ling Xiao, although your strength is extraordinary, to challenge the temple is truly overestimating yourself. If you are willing to join the temple, all past grudges will be wiped clean. What do you say? Gu Bai, seeing he was at a disadvantage and sensing Ling Xiao's strong killing intent, threw out a condition he thought impossible to refuse. Ha! Childish and laughable. Ling Xiao was momentarily stunned, then burst into laughter, his eyes sharp as knives. Who gave you the right to represent the temple and negotiate with me? Aren't you ashamed to say that? He said disdainfully. If I dare to say it, I can make it happen. You contest. This is an opportunity countless people dream of. Gu Bai's face flushed slightly, but he still stared at Ling Xiao calmly. As long as he could hold Ling Xiao back and survive this deadly crisis today, once the third elder arrived, it would be Ling Xiao's death day. As for letting him join the temple? Not only was it against the temple's plans, but Gu Bai himself would never allow it. There's nothing to hesitate about. If you are powerless to turn the tide, then you should prepare to die. Ling Xiao said coldly, advancing step by step. It was just a small step, but suddenly an overwhelming pressure burst forth from Ling Xiao's body, crashing down like a violent storm. Gu Bai struggled desperately to resist, but defeat was already inevitable. Thud! Gu Bai knelt heavily on the ground, trembling all over, trying to break free from Ling Xiao's powerful suppression. Secret technique, ignite. Just as Gu Bai was being pinned down and unable to move, a low shout came from behind Gu Xian appeared, unleashing a fierce attack nearly at the immortal realm's 5th level, charging straight at Ling Xiao. This sudden attack stunned everyone. Gu Xian, who had always followed behind Gu Bai and usually went unnoticed, suddenly stepped forward at this moment. Like a mayfly shaking a tree, overestimating yourself. Ling Xiao sneered, lightly waving his spear, and the attack dissipated like smoke. Impossible! Gu Xian exclaimed, almost losing his voice as his heavily suppressed ultimate move was easily countered. He had carefully chosen the timing and struck with all his might, only to be crushed mercilessly before Ling Xiao. The blow was as heavy as a mountain. Your arcane strength is too low, compared to that third elder, you're far behind. Ling Xiao sneered coldly. How do you know about the third elder? Gu Bai gritted his teeth and questioned. He had never revealed any information about the third elder inside the temple to Ling Xiao. The high-ranking identities within the temple were known to only a very few outside, and obviously Ling Xiao was not among them. Although Gu Bai appeared dull on the surface, as a member of the temple, no one was smarter than him. Ling Xiao mentioned it casually, and combined with the death aura from the temple people that came from the north of the city yesterday, a sudden fear rose sharply in Gu Bai's heart. Want to know? I'm not going to tell you. Ling Xiao sneered coldly, his pressure suddenly rising sharply. This final strike was like the last straw that breaks the camel's back, forcefully pressing down on Gu Bai. The smell of dirt and blood instantly splattered across Gu Bai's face. His eyes were fiery red as he let out a furious roar. Damn it! How dare you treat me like this? I will kill you. No matter the cost. Before the words had even fallen, a pair of golden wings burst out from Gu Bai's back, radiating intense light, his aura surging instantly. These wings were attached later? Ling Xiao was surprised. This forbidden technique was extremely rare in this world, only those called heretics dared to use it. Unexpectedly, someone in the temple had taken this dark path. I will kill you, kill you. Gu Bai's eyes overflowed with bloodlight. Ling Xiao sensed another consciousness awakening in his mind, trying to seize control. That aura was exactly the same as the wings, clearly the soul of the wing's owner. The next moment, Gu Bai flapped his wings, the surrounding space twisted, and his figure vanished instantly. Whoosh! Gu Bai suddenly appeared above Ling Xiao's head and slammed down a punch. This spatial technique was extremely clever, but in front of Ling Xiao, it was like showing off in front of an expert. Ling Xiao didn't look back at all, the Black Heaven Demon Spear thrust straight into the sky. Gubai was only at the second level of the immortal realm, while the power of the 17th rank Black Heaven Demon Spear was enough to easily crush him. Ahead, it was simply insignificant. Crack! At the brink of attack, Gubai's arm instantly broke, but the assault of the Black Heaven Demon Spear did not lessen in the slightest, piercing through half of his body directly. Ah! A piercing, tragic scream cut through the air, blood spraying like a fountain. Gubai's appearance was pitiful beyond words. But in the next second, a bizarre scene suddenly appeared. His body was tightly wrapped by the huge wings behind him, the time element surged, and the wounds healed rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Troublesome, it seems your recovery ability is really strong. I want to see how much longer you can hold on. Ling Xiao stared coldly at Gubai, his irritation growing stronger. The Black Heaven Demon Spear was gripped tighter. Ling Xiao took a step, instantly breaking through the air. The long spear thrust fiercely forward, violently shattering the surrounding space. The spear tip pierced through Gubai's wing just as he was recovering. He was instantly impaled. Impossible. How could you have such power? Gubai's voice suddenly became sharp and piercing, full of disbelief. Ling Xiao ignored his shock. His spiritual power surged wildly, severing Gubai's vitality in one strike. Gubai crashed heavily to the ground. Everyone's expressions changed abruptly, utterly shocked. They had long known that Ling Xiao held the Divine Temple's divine killing order, but they had never seen him display such overwhelming power, a single strike killing a member of the temple, shaking their very souls. How many years had passed without a single death outside the temple? If this matter were reported back to the temple, it would ignite a storm in the Forbidden Wasteland. Countless thoughts surged in everyone's minds. Next, it's you. Ling Xiao stared coldly at Gu Xian, who was secretly retreating, and threatened him in a cold voice. Blood escape. Without hesitation, Gu Xian spat out a mouthful of essence blood, transforming into a streak of bloodlight that instantly vanished into the void. Trying to escape? Too late. Ling Xiao sneered, summoning a spirit power spear and fiercely striking the void ahead. Ah! A piercing, tragic scream came from afar. Gu Xian's figure fell into the void, his life force long since vanished. The two sent by the temple to Qingmu City had both perished. Do you want to stay and play with me, or leave now? Ling Xiao coldly glanced at the leaders of several factions, his voice icy. He originally intended to kill these people one by one, but he knew that if he did so, Qingmu City would fall into chaos. At this stage, the order in Qingmu City is still maintained by these forces. Once it collapses, the ones who ultimately suffer will be the city's civilians. Moreover, Lin Qingtian had yet to rise, and Ling Xiao had no intention of making a name for himself here, so he temporarily spared them. We must leave immediately, right now. Everyone panicked and fled quickly, fearing that Ling Xiao would have second thoughts and completely silence them. The news quickly spread throughout the Forbidden Wasteland. Ling Xiao's courage to challenge the authority of the temple attracted countless attention. The temple had always been tough and domineering, and everyone was curious about how they would retaliate against Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's name instantly echoed throughout the entire Forbidden Wasteland. The next day, Qingmu City. Although the two from the temple were dead and the Tongtian Tower was unguarded, multiple factions still gathered beneath the tower, waiting for the temple's envoy to arrive. It was well known that Ling Xiao had publicly slain the temple's envoys, which would surely provoke the temple's wrath. Whenever the temple sent someone, they would appear at the Tongtian Tower, where everyone gathered to meet them, so as to avoid being implicated. At noon, a powerful aura suddenly appeared, murderous intent soaring straight into the sky. If Gu Bai and Gu Xian were present, they would immediately recognize this person as the temple's third elder. The third elder has arrived. The third elder descended above the Tongtian Tower, noticed Gu Bai and the others were absent, frowned deeply, and questioned the crowd. Senior, they died in battle yesterday. Someone in the crowd replied nervously. What? Killing intent suddenly flashed in the third elder's eyes. His figure flickered and he instantly approached the speaker. Senior, they were all killed by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao? Again Ling Xiao. Xiao. Since they are all dead, why are you still alive? The third elder roared in fury, his anger surging like a raging tide. He suddenly slammed out a palm strike, and the person instantly turned into a bloody pulp, collapsing with a thunderous crash. Life and death decided. He suddenly leapt into the air, his gaze fixed on the northern direction of the city. There, the mark he left in the past still faintly appeared. Even more shocking was that he sensed Ling Xiao's cultivation level in Mortal Realm, 8th layer. This cultivation level is actually on par with his. The third elder, residing in the Divine Temple and enjoying supreme cultivation resources, has stalled at this point. Without a stroke of luck, it is feared he will never advance in his lifetime. Yet this grassroots like Ling Xiao, without the Divine Temple's resources, has managed to break through to this level. His astonishing talent shakes him deeply. This child must not be allowed to live. The third elder coldly shouted, condensing flames in his palm into a fiery serpent, which he suddenly hurled at Ling Xiao. The fire snake grew larger as it flew, expanding to 10 meters in size, carrying a terrifying aura that distorted space. The surrounding temperature rose sharply, and even the wooden racks on the ground began to emit white smoke, as if they could ignite at any moment. Ling Xiao sneered coldly and leapt up, his gaze sharp. Old thing, you really dare to come? Elder 3 roared angrily, killing my temple disciples is an unforgivable sin. Today, you will die by my hand. The fire snake rolled, carrying a raging wave of flames, rushing straight at Ling Xiao. Playing with fire will lead to self-destruction. Behind Ling Xiao, the flame element erupted, countless flames merging into the fire snake, causing it to swell in size again. Elder 3's expression changed abruptly. The fire snake actually stopped mid-air, a force was struggling with him for control. Above Qingmu City, the fire snake swayed and hovered, the heat waves oppressive. Ling Xiao shouted loudly, "Go!" The fire snake slowly turned and flew toward the third elder. Damn it! What kind of demonic technique is this? It can actually control my attack. Elder 3 was terrified and pale. He frantically activated his spiritual power, trying to regain control, only to find his spiritual power falling into an abyss, being devoured and strengthened by the fire snake. Despair surged in his heart. Elder 3 forcibly cut off the spiritual power supply, and a dark, ghostly golden bell suddenly appeared, its base emitting a powerful suction, attempting to swallow the fire snake. Ling Xiao snorted coldly, "Though you have many treasures, they are useless to me." Under his control, the fire snake's speed surged dramatically, and a thin, cicada wing-like shield rose, countering the suction of the golden bell. Wrong, this guy is too strange. Can't play by the rules, must go all out with a single strike. A murderous gleam flashed in the third elder's eyes, magical seals danced, and the golden bell rapidly expanded, enveloping his entire body. Boom! The fire snake slammed fiercely into the golden bell, unleashing a shockwave that shook the heavens, the powerful blast tearing through the surroundings, causing buildings to collapse and dust to fill the air. Ling Xiao's courtyard stood alone, cold, and desolate. Fortunately, Elder San unleashed the fire snake, causing the surrounding people to flee at the first sign of danger. Otherwise, this strike would have added countless unjust souls. Crack! Just as the third elder was relieved to have blocked the attack, a fine crack suddenly appeared on the golden bell. Pop! The golden bell, the third elder's life treasure, was damaged. With the treasure injured, the third elder could not avoid some harm. He furrowed his brows tightly, pain unbearable, and retracted the golden bell. The next moment, a purple bell appeared in his hand, gently shaken toward Ling Xiao. Ding ling ling! The bell rang, invisible spiritual power transforming into a sharp arrow, shooting straight at Ling Xiao. Only relying on your treasure? Ling Xiao sneered coldly, completely unguarded. Spiritual attacks, he had seen few masters who could wield them, except for someone like Yun Ting. The third elder before him was not even in the same league. The spiritual arrow struck him with no reaction. The third elder's face changed drastically, chillingly cold. Magic ineffective, spiritual attack fruitless, only close combat remained. He put away the bell and summoned a pure white cold jade sword. The sword light flowed like water, several sword blossoms slashing through the air, instantly lunging at Ling Xiao. Such a pity for this treasured sword, Ling Xiao muttered softly, a hero deserves a sword. Giving such a treasure to him is truly a waste. Though he looked down on his opponent, he never let his guard down in battle. Gripping the Black Heaven Demon spear tightly, its tip pointed directly at Elder San. Clang! The clash of sword and spear rang out, deafening. After several rounds, Ling Xiao remained unscathed, his clothes intact. The cold jade sword of the third elder was covered with pits, and several blood marks were slashed on his body. Completely suppressed, the third elder's heart was filled with a fierce killing intent. I didn't expect you, an unknown junior, to force me to use my trump card. Ling Xiao, even if I die, it wouldn't have been in vain. He shouted coldly. The long sword struck fiercely, using the force to step back several paces, eyes sharp and cold. Killing you, I really have nothing to be proud of, just crushing an ant. Ling Xiao responded disdainfully, a layer of defensive shield quietly enveloping him. The temple has stood for many years, with profound strength. Even if the third elder has a special trump card to push his cultivation to the ninth heaven of the immortal realm, Ling Xiao was not surprised. Heavenly Tao Reincarnation Seal. The third elder's veins bulged, spiritual power surged turbulently, converging at his brow. Above his head appeared a virtual image of a 5-foot square seal platform, with overwhelming pressure that inspired fear. It's really it. Ling Xiao sensed the familiar aura, his anger burning fiercely. This is the aura of the world's heavenly Tao consciousness. The shrine is indeed intricately connected to him. It is unknown whether this technique was long mastered by the shrine or taught after Ling Xiao appeared. In any case, Ling Xiao was already furious beyond control. Since he sought transcendence, the world's heavenly Tao consciousness had troubled him many times, even pursuing him to this realm to take action personally. If not for Ling Xiao's great strength, he would have been killed long ago. Even if it failed, the heavenly Tao consciousness still laid down many heavy measures, knowing they were ineffective, yet refusing to give up. Disgusting.